And we're waiting for them to get the insurance on PUP, correct?
According to the IRS, once you apply, you have 3 months to say that you are a 501c3, and you have to keep the money separate and return anything via the taxes. If you get denied, most people do not get denied at all. So at this time, they most likely are a 501c3, it's just the insurance.
We need to see the paperwork that there actually are 501c3, which we don't have, is that correct?
Do it, they need the insurance.
Yeah, well, they need both, and
Well, the
apparently we don't have
IRS
both.
again says that once you apply, you can call yourself 501c3 pending. Most of the time you do get approved. So I'm not really worried about that, because they probably will get approved, it's the insurance.
Well, how do I know they applied? I don't see the paperwork.
Linda sent us paperwork, I saw the paperwork, and I looked it up.
I see the backup for this,
Yeah.
the FYI.
It was on there.
And we would not allow them to move forward with their application for utilizing facilities without insurance.
That's my only concern. There's a lot of kids on the field and no insurance is covered.
Now, which sport is this? So the coaches get paid through the community,
Tuition from the kids.
and is the tuition affordable so that all our children have the opportunity to play?
I have not yet seen their flyer, their advertisement.
Right, but out of that money, they should be paying for the insurance.
Correct.
I don't have any other questions.
Okay, we will do it to-
I just want to interrupt new business discussions for a second. I just want to allow Nico to speak because I know this is a kind of a rough time of year for the students. Yes, please.
Wonderful. Hello, everyone. As for right now, for the coming year, homecoming is planned for Friday, October 18th. We're looking to do something a little different this year as compared to years prior, where we'd like to make all of it in one day. So instead of having the pep rally and anything like that on Friday, and then the game itself on a Saturday, it would all be encompassed within that Friday. So the pep rally would be during the day, as we had the last 2 years, even though unfortunately it was canceled this year. The parade would be at 4 o'clock, the game would be at 6, and then we're looking to have fireworks happen after the game. We didn't receive any contracts from Gucci yet. We have been asking for the past, we may actually have it now because we got these notes about 2 weeks ago. We've been asking them for that, so the person that handles the contract for us has been out, so once they return, we should be getting that paperwork back and then it'll come to you guys. So we are asking for your blessing and moving forward with preparing that current plan as it stands. And then, of course, if any new information or anything like that comes up in the future, you'll be the first to know. Senior Day is June 7th. We're going to have the usual barbecue with the yearbooks, the cap and gowns, and everything like that. And then we are, as of I guess last week now, starting elections for student government officers for next year. I've decided that instead of running for all of my current student government positions, I will be running for the Board of Ed in the next few weeks, so I'll see you guys up here in a little bit. Just kidding, I'll still be in student government. Your face, I like that. That was good. Surprise. Thank you. That's what I was looking for. See if you're listening. Okay, yeah, so that's all I have right now, and then any new information I'll have to you guys at the next meeting. So thank you very much.
I thought you had something coming up this Saturday.
This Saturday, that is a great question. I'm drawing a blank. Would you like to move?
Come on, your mom told me the suit you picked out.
Oh yes, we have our junior cruise this Saturday for the junior class. We'll be taking a boat ride on a chartered. I'm going to say yacht because yacht sounds fancier. On a chartered yacht around the harbor in New York. So the junior class will be doing that this weekend. We actually just completed bus sign-ups yesterday. That is the goal, yes. We're hoping for no rain this time. So.
I think this is going to be the first year that it's not going to rain. I know several years.
That is, we very much hope that it will not be any rain this time, so.
Thanks, Russ, you guys enjoy.
All right, thank you very much.
Thank you, Nico. Linda, would you like to introduce our next guest?
So, Mr. Flynn, can you please introduce, we're lucky enough to have a member of Suffolk County Police Department 5th Precinct with us today. If you could just please introduce.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. I'm Lieutenant Michael Alfano. I'm the commanding officer of the 5th Precinct Crime Section. Crime Section deals with school incidents, misdemeanor investigations. The detective squad, they handle felony investigations. So I guess everybody is very concerned about the recent issue that came up. Well, two recent issues, but the one most recent. Being that it's an ongoing investigation, I can't really release any of the details of the investigation, but what I can say is that the detective squad is very optimistic about having it resolved. I can't say guarantee that we can resolve it, but they're very optimistic about resolving it. Whether or not it is resolved, there will be a police presence here on the date in question, and probably the date after, the 12th and the 13th. There will be a police presence, either both of the school resource officers, or if they're not available, I'll have community support unit officers here to just provide a presence here at the school on those dates. It's the policy of the Suffolk County Police Department to completely and thoroughly investigate any school incident, whether it's a fight on school grounds, or a threat to the school, or a threat to a student, or a threat to staff, or any type of school incident. We conduct a thorough investigation until we're 100% positive that either the person that perpetrated it is in custody or receives treatment, or that it's just not a valid threat. So the thing I can ask everybody is, if you tell your students or your children, if they hear something, if they see something, you got to let somebody know immediately, and so we can get this investigation started as quickly as possible. The quicker we can get it started, the more likely that there will be a positive resolution to the situation. That's all I have to say. Does anybody have any questions for me?
Does anybody have any questions? Okay, next speaker.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Okay, we're moving on to the next discussion item, is the reposting of the Assistant Superintendent for Administration and Personnel. I don't know.
There was a description on that?
I'm not sure why that discussion item is on there because it's not up for discussion. We went through multiple rounds of interviews with the first group of folks who applied. We wound up with a large committee at the end of the interview committee. They chose one candidate who we offered the position to, and that person declined the position. So we have since told the other candidates that they thank you for applying, but they're not under consideration anymore, and we have reopened the search for that position.
We have 80 or 50 candidates for that position.
So we can talk about having 50 resumes come in, but I'm just going to use the current search that we have for Mrs. Donnelly's position as an example of what we have been receiving and what most school districts received off OLAS. We currently have 20 resumes that have come in for Mrs. Donnelly's position. Of those, 12 do not have the appropriate certification. So we can say we received 20, but we only have 8 that could even be viable candidates at this moment.
Out of those 50 then, how were viable?
I don't remember that number.
And the 2 that we offered the position to were the only viable candidates out of the 50?
So we had 3 finalists that we brought in front of the committee, and the
Who was the
committee, the committee was union presidents and representation from all of the bargaining units were invited to be part of that committee.
No parents?
There were no parents invited to that. Correct.
I don't think they have parents at the end. I don't think they have parents.
Well, This is the Assistant Superintendent of Human Resources. So their main job is to not, they don't deal with the public generally, they deal with the unions. And they are a member of cabinet, and so therefore, we invited all the unions to send representation to that committee, as well as submit questions to be asked of every candidate.
So you offered the job to the top two candidates, but not the third one, correct?
We actually only offered the job to the top candidate.
Didn't you say in the last meeting that you offered it to both, or one didn't want it because they were was?
Yes, correct. We
So
offered
you
it
did
to one.
offer it to two?
No, we offered it to one.
That's not what you said the other night.
Oh, the AD was two, I'm sorry. So you might be confusing the positions.
So you didn't offer them to the other two people?
Correct.
Or reposting it?
Correct.
How much does it cost to repost?
Nothing.
It doesn't cost a thing to repost it?
Correct.
Just time to get all the committees together?
Correct.
And
Because we want the right person for the job.
So, but if the same people apply,
Well, there are people that we wouldn't reconsider.
even if the top three, the two of them that weren't offered the job, what if they would have still the top two?
The likelihood of them being in the top two after being rejected by the large committee, I don't know why we put them through the process again. That wouldn't make any sense.
They want the job.
Okay, but the committee rejected their candidacy, so
The
therefore,
committee, the
Well,
committee
maybe
forward.
they, I think I
Excuse me,
understand where you're
speaking now,
going.
right
Okay,
now.
I'll finish.
But I'm speaking now, and then you can speak, okay? I'm not gonna interrupt you, please don't interrupt me. So, the committee put those three candidates forward, and then you choose, isn't that correct?
no, the committee didn't actually put three candidates forward. We had a discussion about the committee, after the committee sat, we had discussion about the candidates, and it was,
Who chooses the recommendation?
I do.
Okay, thank you, that was my question. We're done.
There was a blurb that went around today about the union promoting an internal candidate of their choice. And we, as an administration, and
But you're an administrator.
as administration and the board, we have been put down because of that we didn't accept this candidate. My position, I'm not talking about you, and I'm speaking. My position is, I respect administration, and especially with the assistant superintendent for human resources, or for our business department. I respect the administration's decision and the committee's decision to put the best person forward. I represent the district, I represent the families, and I only want the best. But what I read today was a little disheartening. I'm not going to go into it now, but it's more politics than education right now. It's a disgrace. It's sad. I'm almost depressed after all these years. And in the last 6 years, things have been going so well in terms of education. But what I see happening now is everyone wants to take over the administration position. And it really is very sad. And I'm going to continue speaking. I'm not going to yell, but I'm going to continue speaking about things like this every time there's a board meeting. Because someone has to hear this. Someone has to do something about what's happening now to this district. And it's very sad. That's all I have to say.
Okay, well, I want to say something to that. So the post that she's talking about was on the Connecticut Teachers Association page, and they were promoting an internal candidate. I was in a business for many, many, many years, and when you promote someone from within, it brings up morale, and that's what you do when you're in business. This is a big business. So I commented on that post, and I said, yeah, I would support that. I would definitely support promoting from within. Excuse me, I didn't interrupt you. Don't interrupt me.
Say what you really wrote.
I can't get on the internet, or I would read it verbatim. Connecticut Teachers Association, go on there, everybody can read my post. I need Kennedy Patago, it's on there, you can read what I said. I said I would definitely support that. Again, I don't know the exact words, I can't get online. We did not, the board did not reject any candidate because we weren't presented with one. If we were presented with one, Linda just told you that the person did not take the job because they didn't like the salary. So we weren't presented with anyone, so we didn't reject anyone. So that's why I commented on the Connecticut Teachers Association to clarify that it wasn't the board saying no to a position. we weren't presented with any. That's all I have to say. And you can read my answer on the site.
I'd just like to give some data because I think that there's some misinformation floating around. Since I've been here for 5 years, there have been 20 positions open in administration. Some due to retirements, some due to people who we've asked to leave, some people who left, and some positions were filled more than once. In that period of time, in those 20 candidates, there were no internal candidates for 4 of them. That leaves us 16 positions within which there were internal candidates. 3 of those positions were applied by the same person, and after the first round, which involves the CTA and parents and administrators, they weren't moved forward. So they weren't deemed good candidates for the positions that we were looking to hire for. That leaves us 13 positions. Of those 13 positions, all of them had at least one member of the Connect-Quad teacher or administrative staff apply. Of those, 6 were hired from internal ranks. So of 13, 6 of them were hired from the internal ranks. We want the best candidates here. That's what I try to promote all the time. If I look at the principal of Boston and Cherokee, we had 1 teacher apply for that, and we hired from the outside. That was a hugely extensive process. The people who made it through that process are fantastic principals in this district. We just want the best people for our Connect-Quad kids. If that's an internal person and they're ready to move forward and they've done great things for us here, we want to keep them here. We want to keep our community happy. But if they're not ready for that position, then we shouldn't move them forward just because they are Connect-Quad graduates or Connect-Quad teachers or administrators. And that is always my policy here. Every time someone comes forward, I want to say, is this the best person for Connect-Quad kids? Because we impact 6,000 students every single day. In the 20 positions, we have hired 6 internal, 4 did not have applicants, 3 had the same applicant that wasn't moved forward by their own colleagues, and of the 13 left, almost 50% were hired internally because we felt they were the right candidates and the best candidates. So that is just where we sit. I will always hire the best for Connect-Quad if that's possible. That's my job.
As a parent, I've sat on many hire committees. Many of them. There was one actually that I sat on that still resonates with me today. The candidates that we put forward, one of them was an internal candidate, and they were the top candidate put forward. And when the letter went through, that person was put on the bottom of the list. So it was a little shady, a little annoying, and I sat at that podium right there and complained and bitched and moaned about wasting my time when you already had a predetermined outcome in the hiring committee. It's not the first time, I'm sure it won't be the last time, I'm sure there's times that there's not a predetermined outcome. But for that instance, there was. So it's a little disheartening, and I have to question the process sometimes. I think the whole process needs to be overhauled. I don't think that it's fair or equitable, and I think sometimes there is a predetermined outcome. Somebody has a friend, somebody has a favorite, and that person gets put through. That's just my opinion. From being on the committees.
I've been following what you're saying. We've changed the policy, we made it tighter, we made it more difficult for something like that to happen. Could it happen? Sure it could. It could happen. But for the most part, it doesn't. And when I hear something, I go through every resume before they're hired. If I hear whispers in the district, where there's smoke, there's fire, I have to see every envelope.
Can I see every resume then for the HR position?
Sure you can. You just ask, they'll bring them here.
All right, perfect. I'd like to see.
But, she's very biased about the HR position. There's a reason for this, So
I know.
anyway,
What's my reason?
you tell them.
I don't have a reason. I think it's a bad process, and I want it to be fixed and be fair. and
Why not about
I don't
every,
have a reason.
then
I
why
don't know
not
where
about
the
every
other
other process? Why not about the AD
I'll see all those too.
okay.
Nobody was
You
recommended
see
to
the
us.
difference, what she asked
I have no
for,
problem.
and the story.
What did I ask for? I don't know any of those people that were recommended. I don't know who she offered the job to, Lee. What are you insinuating?
You only
Just say it, Lee. Don't beat
You
around want to make accusations, just say it. No, I want to see all of them.
I just sent
I want to see all of them.
Okay, fine, you'll get, she'll,
Perfect,
I
thank
believe,
you.
please, I believe.
Move on. Don't insinuate. Say it straight out.
Okay, we're gonna move on to the presentation of diploma by board trustee Raymond Carter. I'd like to ask the board, with your permission, if you will allow Mr. Raymond Carter to, not only,
Absolutely not, of course, right? I have no problem with it.
to not
I have no
only,
problem with it when I want
to not only present the diploma, but also to, give a speech at the high school. Normally, it's the board president that, delivers the speech,
or
but I,
designate. Or designate.
right, if you're currently on the board, I'd like to ask Ray if you would have the privilege and honor to do so for this year. Mark,
We'd love to have you.
Lee,
Yes.
and it's a yes. We need to have this on the,
Do we need to vote on it?
well, we have the consensus now, but it's not on the consent agenda, was it supposed
But
to
you
be?
can make that as a consent item during the discussion, so you just need to take a vote that you so motion that the Board of Education approves allowing Mr. Raymond Carter to present the graduation diplomas as well as to give the speech at the graduation ceremony. You just need to do a motion, a second, and a vote.
And that happens when now, or?
You do it right now.
Okay, so then, Mary Jane? Can you present us so that we can vote on that?
We have a motion to authorize or to nominate Mr. Carter to present at the graduation, to speech for graduation, to present.
Motion.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
And I just have one other question, I want to go back for 1 second. How many people are in the HR department?
What do you mean,
How many people are in that department?
as far as who, because everybody's,
What are-
Secretaries.
Secretaries, their title, and what are their titles and duties? Who's in that department, in the HR department?
your department.
There are 5 clerical staff upstairs, and there are 3 part-time receptionists for total of 8.
So 5 clerical and 3 part-time receptionists? And Linda, you said that you wanted the best candidate, but sometimes we don't have the internal candidates. This is for any position. So can you just tell me what you would look for in an internal candidate? So that our current employees would understand that and could work towards that in the future.
So I've had a discussion with the candidate that you're speaking of.
I'm not speaking of any candidate, I'm speaking in general. If we have an internal candidate for any position, what qualities do you want from that employee so that they can move forward?
So the biggest quality that you look for in anyone is that they're a lifelong learner, that they're willing to learn and move into the position. That being said, you also want someone who has distinguished themselves within the district, taken on greater responsibilities, made things better for our kids in their current position, and made sure that they are being a productive member of the community that is the Connect One Schools. There are many other things that you're looking for, especially when you're looking for an assistant superintendent or a cabinet level position. You're looking for someone who has had increased levels of responsibility over the course of their career. District-wide responsibility would be appropriate for someone who's going to move into central office. And every position is going to have different nuances that you're looking for, but if you're looking for a cabinet level position, you want someone who is taking on increased responsibilities over the life of whatever position that they're in. And you really do want to look for someone who has more district-wide lens than someone who doesn't. And that would just be that one position. Every position has different nuances that you're looking for.
Thank you.
Any further questions on item 2? Okay, we're gonna move on to the dispatcher position.
Let's go about that. Who wants to go first?
I'll go.
Okay.
I just brought up a certain question a couple of weeks ago about the dispatcher, and it seemed like it caused a whole disarray. I kind of got offended, and I have no problem with whatever we decide to do, but you know what gets me a little offended? When I did talk to you, Linda, right outside, the first thing you said to me was, do you know you can't vote if this happens? Do you know that? And I was kind of like, why don't you just say something nice, Eva, instead of telling me that? And then you said to me, a future president wasn't allowed to vote on something either. And I had no idea what you were talking. I had no idea where you were going with this. But I found out both weren't true. And I'm sitting there going, geez, what's more concerning? What's the red flag here? That I asked them, repost the position, or am I getting in the way of something? So I looked into this a little bit. And I asked some questions, and I wanted to know, I know the dispatch that we have right now is leaving, and was leaving from a year ago, from what I understand. So we knew about this a year ago. From what I understand, the civil service test has the high scores, and they actually get the job first. So we knew about this a year ago. I'm going to say about 6 months ago, we should have hired somebody and had them in training already for that job, which we didn't. We waited and procrastinated for what reason, I don't know. But we did what we did. So I looked into it. I want to know why we waited. Why would we know a year ago that somebody's leaving such an important position? We're not on top of that right away. Can anybody answer me? Why did we prolong it? I don't care who we hire, who the person is that has the highest score. I don't even know about it. But I want to know what's going on here.
Is that your first question?
Yes?
I have a couple more.
Anybody?
Who's going to answer Mr. Washer's question? So this is a function of human resources, so I'm going to ask my assistant superintendent of human resources to describe the protocols that we have in the district for posting positions.
Why we have to post something? We already know who's supposed to get hired. It's civil service test.
Correct.
One of the highest scores.
Yeah, there's no test right now. There's no.
Look, you're going by who was on there. Stop, Mark.
No, there's no.
Stop swinging.
I'm not
Get
swinging.
to, you know what I'm talking about.
No, I don't.
No, we're gonna get to the points here.
There's no viable test. We appointed a person for this position a few months ago, and if you notice the letter that Dr. Adams sent you today, the provision is contingent provisional. The person must pass the test.
Why can't we go by who already did the test?
There's a new test coming in June.
That's in
There is a
June.
test.
What's wrong with what we have?
There is no list now. The test has been closed.
There is a
The
list.
description of the
Is
job.
there a list? Is there a list? Oh, there is? There is a
It's
list.
not a viable list.
Stop.
If you don't, no, if you don't believe me, I want you to call civil service. Why would they appoint somebody contingent provisional if there's a viable list? Answer me that.
Bob, I'm not gonna get into, I don't know all the answers, but I know I asked.
But I do, I do civil service. So if you give me a moment, I'll explain it to you.
Why have we?
The letter that Liz just sent you today,
Why are we training certain people for the civil service test and not other people?
you don't train people for a test.
Somebody's already getting trained.
Some people were getting trained for the civil service
And their
test.
seniority, even if they're not on the civil service test, let's forget about the civil service test. Their seniority is down like in the 70s. When you got people up in the higher numbers that are also on the civil service test, that should have gotten the job or been training for the job. Why are we hiring somebody that's all the way at the bottom of the list
That
and
doesn't
not
have
on the civil service
experience.
test? There is a list.
There's-
Go online and look up the civil service test. It's on
There's,
there.
I'm telling you, and you can verify the civil
I've been
service.
online, it's there.
If you want to come to my office, we'll look at it tomorrow, and I will call civil service with you in the room.
Perfect.
Okay, but now let me.
There's a new test coming in June.
That's correct.
But that test is already, this other list is still out.
That test will be scored in 6 months.
That test changed the job description.
No, they should change the title.
They changed the title.
Change the
They
title.
changed the title. That's not the union contract.
Union doesn't know about it, it's not in the union contract.
Civil service has the option of changing the title.
Right,
It's
but
not
then
the
we-
union
then we
contract.
have to negotiate with the union for that title.
No, you
Because then who gets the job? Now
you-
nobody has that title.
If
So
you
they just
take,
changed it.
if you take a look at the letter that Dr. Adams sent today,
I
two
can't get
letters,
online.
it says to you, we as civil service have changed the title of the position. The duty statement and the descriptions remain unchanged. It's
So
as
then
simple
the
as
same
that.
people that are on that list should get that job then.
There's
the
no
highest
list.
seniority
Otherwise I can send you.
There is a list.
Call civil service tomorrow in my presence, and I will verify it for you. I'm telling you, there's no list. If there were a list, why would George Saunders have been appointed
Why are we training
provisionally?
someone? Okay, why are we training someone, because
I have no
why are we
idea.
training someone that's
Who
low
are we
man on the
training?
totem pole?
Who are we training?
I'm not allowed to say names, so I'm not gonna do that. We're training someone who's in the 70s.
I don't know if anybody who's being trained.
Do we hire somebody yet?
No. We hired George Saunders several months ago.
Provisional, right?
That's
Right.
a different position.
So he can be knocked off when this new test comes out,
That's
correct?
absolutely true.
Right. The one that we're training is the one that's still hanging out the old consultant that doesn't work here anymore, right?
Don't you do that?
Hang out with consultants?
No,
No.
hang out.
I hang out all the time.
There's nobody.
I ain't sleeping with them.
I don't know.
Yeah.
That's not called for, that shouldn't be saying things like
Then they
that.
shouldn't insinuate crap about me, my lady.
I'm gonna end this- I'm gonna end this
President,
I'm gonna
make
end
sure
this-
that your
Well, I
body
wanna-
I'm going to end this conversation, I'm going to end this
What I'm doing.
conversation if it's not productive. Please do
Well, then tell
not,
your vice president not to
please
make
do
more
not spread rumors
insinuations.
or,
Thank you,
or happy
thank you.
I would like to, just so we understand this, I already got a consent, but of course it didn't matter.
I have to, and I have, we all have
leave you
questions.
speaking, leave you speaking.
Okay, we all have questions, so,
Can I finish talking?
yeah.
What I'd like to do is if what Bob is saying is true, I want to repost that job, okay? And I have a consensus, I believe. And I would like, I would like everybody in the bus depot to know that what's going on and what to follow, what you need to do. Because I think it's not fair for some of the people that actually have a high score, that they need to be able to take the test too again. And people that, I hear there's somebody in there that does the job. I'd like to repost this.
Anyone with 3 years as a driver is considered eligible for this title and can take the test.
Okay, when do we have?
If they are appointed, just so I'm clear, before the test is administered, the person will be appointed contingent provisional. When the test
You don't
is-
like those things.
When the test is scored, they have to be one of the 3 highest scoring willing applicants. If they're not, and that includes the person who's in there now, they cannot keep the job. It's as simple as that.
So seniority doesn't mean anything then.
Seniority means nothing. This is civil service rules.
Alright, that's fine.
Okay, can I ask,
We'll look at that test though.
when,
the title changed?
when this was brought to my attention initially by Mark, he asked for it to be reposted because he had to go.
I
You
got
had to
sick,
go to the
I was in the
hospital, and your
hospital,
wife, wait, I'm
and
talking.
I'm gonna tell you what.
No, I'm
You're not
talking.
gonna take words out of what I said.
If this is not gonna be productive,
You
we're
twist
gonna move on.
everything.
If it's not gonna be productive, we're gonna move on.
You said,
get recommended anyway.
you just said you had to go to the hospital.
This is Lee Trento, everybody else.
I'm not going there, I'm being honest. What you said. You said, you were, it's not an insinuation. You said that your wife had to take you to the hospital, that you wanted reposted so she would have the opportunity to apply. Even though the posting is out for X amount of days,
5 weeks,
5 days.
and I was in the hospital a week,
You were in the hospital.
going back and forth.
Well, you know, but the
Listen,
reason.
I would do it for anybody.
The reason there is a posting for every position, and just as to repost for your personal life, just seems like.
He wasn't
But
doing
then
that.
I said,
His wife was never
I
getting
said,
involved. Why do
forget
you
that.
think Linda's gonna recommend?
I did
Linda
say
always
forget it.
recommendations.
One voice at
I
a
said-
time,
I
one
said-
voice at a time, one voice at a time.
I said, forget that. I said, I understand no problem. You know what? She
I
wants no
wasn't
part
there.
of the job. She wants no part of the job. Because, you
Well,
know,
I wasn't there for
first
that
of all,
part.
Linda came right up to me and made it seem like, hey, in a shot, what are you doing? I mean, I felt like I was like,
Oh,
right,
so-
getting beat up again.
So I have to,
And you lied though, and you lied again.
no, I
Well,
did not.
you made a
He
mistake.
said he couldn't vote on that.
And
And-
Lisa Hutchinson,
We paid an
and
attorney.
Lisa Hutchinson,
Linda,
Also-
it's the point
well,
that's happening.
I'm going to speak because my character is being maligned once again.
Fine.
But that's not the truth what he told him.
Okay,
He's allowed to vote.
when Mrs. Hutchinson gave us guidance, when Mr. Amarando's wife became a substitute in the district, she said that as a board trustee, you cannot vote on the appointment. Excuse me, I'm speaking.
Okay, he did. He
I'm
did.
speaking, Eileen, please, you
Eileen.
talk about not interrupting people, but you consistently interrupt me.
All
right.
So that's my interruption.
Linda, please finish. All right, I think this topic is going nowhere.
No, I need to speak.
All right, then
I'm sorry.
finish, you gotta finish.
So when Mr. Amarando's wife was put on the board agenda as a substitute a few years back, as a
I never
long-term
said
substitute.
names.
I'm speaking.
You're not supposed to say
Come on,
names.
please.
We're not supposed to say names.
Mrs. Hutchinson directed the board that he could not vote on her because it impacted him directly. However, that was misinformation. But I didn't know that at the time that was misinformation. And Mr. Amorando actually did vote on his wife because it was deemed that she was not being provisionally put onto the agenda in order to be a tenured teacher. And the law is clear, that has now been explained by Mrs. Hutchinson after the discussion that you and I had, Mr. Warsaw. So I am not a lawyer. I was just taking the lawyer's advice from 3 years ago,
But maybe
that,
you should.
I'm still speaking, that he could not vote on her because it had something to do with his benefit. He did vote on her, and then she said it's only if it was going to be a provisionally certified teacher who was going to go toward tenure. Since it was only a substitute, he could vote. So, Mrs. Hutchinson also said to me that you couldn't vote on your wife if she was to be the candidate that was being recommended for the same reason, that there would be a benefit to your household. However, 2 days later, she gave an opinion that she gave us the wrong advice, that is only for teachers who are being provisionally certified, who are being appointed for tenure and not for any other employee in the district. So the lawyer got the information incorrect. She actually apologized in the memo to you. That's the same information that she gave to me that I relayed to you. So I apologize for giving you misinformation that was given to me by the attorney, but she also apologized because she had the information incorrect. And she said that to you in writing. And the next day you and I spoke on the phone, and I said, I'm sorry that I gave you that information because I had that information from the attorney who had the wrong information.
Maybe we didn't know the attorney.
Linda, Mrs. Adams,
Dr. Adams.
Dr. Adams, whatever you want to be.
No, that's
A few times I've spoken to you, and you are our superintendent.
Yeah.
And you've answered me and made quotes that have been wrong. And I just find it kind of strange, and I get offended by it, by the things that you've said to me. And I find out they're not true again a couple of times. So, you know what? I understand, but there's been other times too. You're our superintendent. You're supposed to be directing us. You should know some of the answers, more importantly. And if you're asking advice from a lawyer, and they're not giving us proper advice, you should be coming up to us and saying, we have a problem. We're getting advice sometimes that isn't right, isn't correct. We need to make things better. There was a situation that just occurred, and you said, and there was a big things outside the school. And your answer was, we need somebody to take care of that. You're our superintendent. Take care of it. Okay? There was a big brawl outside the school. There was a fight. And nothing happened to the people. I'm not bringing in names.
We had a big discussion.
We had a discussion about it. Nothing happened to the
Fight off grounds.
off grounds. Nothing happened to the people. And I saw the video I told you.
Yes, correct.
And you said there's nothing we can do, this, that, and the other thing.
That's correct.
I understand all that. But you also said, as an athletic director, we should make them accountable. Well, as a superintendent, you've got to make sure you make everybody accountable here.
Correct.
Well, then you're not doing it.
He's leaving.
Okay, no, it's not just that. It's all these situations that are occurring. You've got to you can't say something and be wrong this often. It's happened a few times with me.
Well, you're talking about something that if it had impacted our school day, then we have jurisdiction.
I'm talking
But
about
the
a few.
fight that
I'm not-
happened on a weekend did
I'm
not
not
impact the school day in any way, shape, or form. We have
I'm not even talking.
And you're talking about legal matters without the school attorney here. She would give you that advice as well. If it comes in and it impacts the school, then we have to do something about it. But
The
if
point
there's no
was you
impact
need
to the
to
school,
take more you need to get on the ball a little bit better. And stop saying something if you're not sure, or if you're taking the advice of a lawyer and it's not correct.
how would I do
Something's
that?
not right.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, let's move on. We're going on to introductions to TRS.
No, we need to, if we're voting on whether or not we're going to replace the dispatcher position, we need to do that at this point.
I vote yes, repost.
So you need to make.
I want to
make a
repost
motion
it
in a
only if what Bob is saying, what Eileen said also, the civil service. If there's not a list, then we repost it. There is already a list. We go by the list that's already there.
Right.
There is no list
Well,
of anybody
we're
can
gonna find out
apply.
tomorrow. I will be down to office.
There is a list.
There is a list.
There is no viable list. How would George Saunders have been appointed provisionally if there were a list? Tell me that.
I spoke to
Excuse me,
Okay, hold up.
you
Can we
can't
ask her to
speak.
speak?
No, and when it's public comment,
She spoke to civil service, okay.
a public comment, you can speak.
Okay, you can speak in public comment. It's fine. But, like I just said, I want a consensus to repost it if what we just said is, if you're saying that there's no list, then we repost it. If there is a list, we're not reposting it. We're going by the list as of right now, not after the new list or June 10th. As of today, follow the rules. Understood? Is that good? We have a consensus on that?
We had.
We had a consensus last time. Now we want to vote on it? Let's vote on it.
Aye.
Aye. I know we had a consensus, but apparently it wasn't good enough for everybody
We had
here.
to discuss it in public.
We had to discuss it in
So that
public.
they could try to make multiple
Is that what
bids,
the
because it's
attorney
my
said?
fault.
We're supposed to discuss it.
Right.
So are you voting yes or no, Lee?
Because it's my fault. It's okay, it's
Let's
okay,
see
it's
what
like public school.
Lee, what are you voting?
Leave the dispatch back there.
If we already have a, don't you want to do what's right? If there's already a list, don't you think we should go by the list that's there?
That hasn't taken place.
If we already have a list, should we go by that, or you're saying no? You have somebody you want?
Is this person already working here?
She's ready on day one.
Yes. No, the one that's leaving, right?
So if there's a list,
She's leaving.
There is no list. I believe her on this
Elaine, you
day.
believe
We
me.
don't have a list.
Let me ask you
We
this.
all know there is
What
a
would be the
list.
harm in reposting them?
right, so just go by the list. I'd rather go by the rules.
Follow the rules.
The vote is to repost or not. Are we good?
Repost if there is no list.
If there's already a list,
Then
go
we
by
go
the
by the
list.
list. Repost if there's no list.
There's a list. Of course you go by
So,
the
Bob,
list.
there's
There
no,
you
Bob,
go.
there's no
Elaine,
question.
thank you.
No, I mean, my contention is the last person who was appointed, Mr. Saunders, was appointed provisionally, and he was allowed to
Didn't he
be
get the
appointed
top score?
provisionally.
Different job. What you're talking about, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
You're talking about.
You're talking about
job.
dispatcher.
No, assistant dispatcher, is what we're talking about. We're talking about assistant dispatcher.
That's totally different. We're talking
That's
dispatcher.
the
that-
list,
No,
that's the
that's
contract
the
rule.
assistant
Oh, no,
That's what
no,
we're
no,
speaking about.
this is totally different. We're talking about dispatcher.
No.
Yes.
No, we're talking, I can't say
We're
a
talking
name.
about
Start with
dispatcher.
an S. The
No,
one that's in
what- no,
position
let's
S.
be clear. The department head said he wanted to have 2 dispatchers, not a dispatcher and assistant dispatcher. I'm talking about the dispatcher position. Why else would I be talking about Mr. Saunders?
I have no idea. I don't know.
What
who
was
has
the
what
post,
position. I don't know who he is.
the posting
I'm
in
talking about the one
question,
that's,
the posting in
that's
question
leaving. The one that's
that you
retired.
referenced last month was dispatcher, not assistant dispatcher. And you know that and I know that.
No, I was always talking about the assistant one.
I was talking about
the
the assistant.
the one that's leaving, the one that's retiring.
The one that she's.
There was never a posting, to my knowledge, for assistant dispatcher. There may be for assistant.
Mr. Nucci?
So wait,
Can I clear something up, Mr. Nucci?
when you, there's a public question. So Bob, let me understand this.
It'll
This
clarify what
is
you're
for
talking
assistant. So what Mark is referring to is for the assistant
Yes.
dispatcher?
I did not know that till he just said it. My assumption has always been, the recommendation we got from the head of transportation was he wanted 2 dispatchers. That's what we posted.
It was posted school
So
bus
is there,
by the
is there a list for
coordinator.
the
Same
assistant?
thing.
So is there a list for the assistant
Not civil
dispatcher?
services, not.
Yeah, they just renamed it.
Is there a union rep here that could explain it to me? Is there a union rep here?
Yes, we have.
Can we get an explanation on it?
I can try to clarify it. Hi, guys, my name is Lisa Santana. I am the, I hate microphones, I'm really not good at it. Okay, I'll try to explain it simply as I can, and then you will for the next week. The position that person is leaving on Wednesday, her title was assistant, right, her title was assistant dispatcher. It was changed. I wasn't aware that it was changed. I needed directive from civil service that the change was due to civil service. And I need that for my LRS. So I know Lisa's not here, but I really do need it. This is my members are here, and they're here for a reason, and I think it's a valid one. Because there are people that are qualified for this job right away. And the person that's being considered, which we know, is, doesn't meet the
Don't say
qualifications.
that,
I'm not, I'm just, look, I don't, it's not, it's not that way, so I don't believe it. This position is vital, and I want to explain why it's different from the others. There's two management positions. This is currently, or I'm not sure about what went on here, but two of them are management, and I have no qualms about it. But this title, this position, has always been a union position. It is in our contract under recognition, and we have the titles there. The test is active until 2020. Now, you have this person leaving Wednesday. Someone's going to fill that place that actually knows the job. And then there are others that have experience from other districts. So you really need to have somebody ready. You know what's going to happen?
How many people are on top of that list, do you know?
Right now, well, George was on it, but he took the,
Who took the management?
right. Sally was on it, but she obviously needed to be on it, and she,
Don't say anyone.
right, oh, sorry. There are two with 95s that work here. There's one with a 90. I'm just trying to remember the
So
list.
those two one of those two.
Because I did call civil service, and because I wanted to verify.
That's what I was talking about. When I called civil service, it was 2020, so,
No, there are two different things
well,
in play here.
I didn't
One
know you were
is-
talking about
I
a different position.
really would like to explain how vital this position is. Our members really depend on that person, especially now. This is a time period that's so busy because we have regions. We have to do all that work. It's not about just routing, especially now. You've got regions, you've got early dismissals that are on top of that in trips, and you have people that you still have to cover that are out. What else? You have, summer work has to be prepared. Now we don't even have a break. It goes June 28th, right away, July 1st, summer runs. So it's vital that I get that done, because I work in tandem with that position. It's always been a union position. Now it won't be. There's some serious concerns, because this job is so important. It can make or break us. And like I was saying,
How does it not be a union, how does it go from union to non?
I have no
It's in your
idea. I
contract.
can't.
The head of transportation, we don't micromanage people, the board, through a central office, has said, I would like to have two people who are dispatchers, now bus coordinators. I want one to handle the big buses, and I want one to handle the vans. We asked civil service if that was permissible. The response we got, yes. That is why the posting for March did not say assistant. It clearly said
Well, we
dispatcher.
get agree from the union, because that is.
Yes, you are, because I will file a grievance, because the way it is now, it's a grievable act. Plus,
And you
this
didn't
person,
approach us and let us know.
this person, it has to be, excuse me,
Mark was
it has to be a union position, because they're not allowed to touch our trip wheels. A manager, in our contract, is not allowed to, assign it. It has to be a union member. I just see problems for you guys going forward. And again, I'm gonna reiterate with the turnarounds, people, early dismissals, you have special needs, and we care about our students so much. We're there for them, and I don't wanna mess. Because I also work and assign these things. Then you've got one fix coming up, and that person, that vital person is leaving with all this knowledge about these special needs kids. Somebody asked a question. Sure. There's a little bit of confusion here, not that I'm understanding this. So, currently now it is a union position, but now, for a certain date, it's becoming a civil position?
No, both civil service. One is covered by the union contract, and one is not.
That's a chance.
So all right, so which one is covered by union, which one is not?
Assistant is covered by the union. The higher title is not covered by the union.
Okay, so the job in question, which is the assistant,
No, we want the one
Don't we have to abolish the
we
position?
want the one by the union. That's
No,
what are we
doesn't
changing
the
rules for?
position have to be abolished by the board?
they don't.
We didn't-
It's not changing the rules. Now, again, as I said to you before, wait a minute, hear me out. Are we gonna micromanage the head of the department who says, I want two dispatchers? Or are we
When
gonna
you
say,
abolish the position, it has to come come before the board.
But it's not an abolishment position, it's changing.
You are, you're saying no more assistant, two regular dispatchers. Now it's not union, now it's regular.
It's not considered abolishment.
When we get to you, Bob, he's gonna pay the fine? Because I don't want my taxpayers paying it.
So it's not
We're
an
definitely
assistant,
getting
it's
green.
actually
You just
dual,
heard it.
and it's dual dispatchers, is that correct?
There's two dispatchers.
So, but what I understand is why is one civil and then the other one is union, that's what my confusion
They're
is.
both civil service, one is claimed by the union, the other is not. The other is considered management.
We're violating the contract, that's what we're doing. Once again.
Okay, thank you. Okay, so, let me ask another question, so you're saying that there's a list for this assistant, even though it's a dual position?
Right.
You're saying there's not a list, is there a list for the
No.
assistant?
There's a list for the assistant, but the position we've been discussing has been dispatcher plus coordinator.
Because you didn't tell us that. They're changing it again.
It was posted that way in March. There's nothing shady.
I know that we had a dispatcher and an assistant dispatcher, and that's the one we were talking about.
But they were both posted.
I didn't know that you changed it to
They were
dispatcher.
both posted very clearly as dispatcher. The
No, it
one,
wasn't, they had different titles. So it wasn't.
they were both posted as dispatchers. Yes or no?
I have to go back and look.
You'll find out telling you the truth.
I'm not saying you're telling us, but we.
Well, the one you wanted reposted was dispatcher.
No, assistant. We should have went back to the original way and assistant.
Whole different question, entirely different
Because
question.
you changed, and I didn't realize you changed everything. And then I found out, now I know why everybody was so mad at me. Like I was causing a havoc, and now I found out, oh, they got somebody they want, and this is what's going on. So I asked questions.
You're talking about, I thought you were talking about George.
And then I found out, oh, this is all planned because this is what's up there.
No, well, I will tell you historically, and I hate to do this in front of the union, but until 2 years ago, that position was titled head bus driver, and the person had to take a run. Civil service said because the person wasn't taking a run, we're going to change the title to assistant dispatcher. And you can look that up. That's
And
absolutely
they
true.
agreed to it.
It is what, and
Why the
bus driver
contract?
and assistant dispatcher are in the recognition clause in our contract.
Okay,
We're
so,
okay with the contract.
so if I'm hearing this, there is a list. So the
Yes.
candidates that applied for this job were on this list. So then it sounds
We
like.
have to repost it to the candidates that are on the list, see if they want it.
You have to go off the list.
You have to go off the list, off the list. That's what you're supposed to do. That's the union, that's the contract.
Civil service
We don't care
gave
what civil service
authorization.
said, it's all legal.
There's a question of, as Denise is saying, because it's part of the unit position now, doesn't necessarily mandate that it continue that way.
There's two people on the list with the highest score, 95.
Yes.
The guy George got 100, he's got his position, he's good. Now there's two more people on there for this.
George did not promote that list.
Different list.
That's not true.
Actually, he is also on the
Forget about
assistant
it, forget
dispatcher at
about
100.
it. There's two people that have 95, right?
On the second list?
On the second list.
That I don't have.
Okay, fine.
That's-
There, there are people that want to speak, there are people here that are qualified, and they almost feel, for lack of a better word, disappointed, because they didn't have the opportunity. And there is one that's actually doing the job while you guys figure it out. So they're going to want to speak at the end of this, and whenever you guys say, so, thank you so much.
Okay, thank you.
I'm just here to support.
All right, so,
How do we get through this? Do we need
yeah,
to-
exactly, no problem, guys.
Do we need to repost?
No, we don't need
Thank you.
Can we hear from the people first and open up the public so we understand?
That might be best, because as I said to you before, I don't believe in micromanaging somebody else's department. If the head of the department says, I would like this title for this position, I'm not there every day. I presume he knows what he's doing, and he has a valid reason for doing it.
So maybe we should pull him in? So you have.
Yeah, civil service has no problem with two dispatchers. There's a question of the union asserting jurisdiction. If they want to grievance, it wouldn't be the first time we took on the grievance. Our position has to be that, pardon?
I don't want to pay more money if the job's already there.
Guess what? The assistant dispatcher pays more than the dispatcher,
Okay.
is that?
considerably, by about $30,000.
Because you take funds, right?
You seem like you're really against this, Bob. and you get-
I'm neither for nor against it. I'm Switzerland in this, but I don't like second guessing the head of the department.
So why can't we bring, just hold this off until, we table this until we bring in the head of the
That's
department?
fine.
because the girl is leaving tomorrow. And there's a girl that's gonna be, that the girl is gonna be doing the job. Why did we wait so long for all this to happen? This is what I'm trying to say to you guys.
We
We
did not.
dropped the ball.
No, we didn't. It was
No?
supposed to be timely action.
The girl's
The
leaving
job was
tomorrow.
posted
We
in
don't have
March,
somebody.
position's being vacated in May. That's 8 weeks.
From assistant to a regular one. So you change it, which means we're gonna get a grievance.
And you don't care.
No, it's not a question of caring or not caring. It's a question of, is that administrative prerogative or not?
Taxpayers, that they have to pay for something that we arbitrarily changed because a guy said, I want 2 dispatchers instead of an assistant and a dispatcher. So now we're gonna get grief because it's not the union contract.
So are you saying that the board and/or someone else should substitute their judgment instead of ours?
I'm saying
It's not a
we should
question of
follow
following or
and
not following rules.
change things
There's no
arbitrarily.
rule involved here.
Unilaterally.
There is no
You said
rule.
you called them and asked them, you called them,
Yep,
and you asked for this.
and they said they're fine with 2
Well,
dispatchers.
what even made you call, what hyped up all this stuff? What made it change?
The head of the department said I would like to have 2 dispatchers.
All of a sudden,
So I called
the
civil
head of the
service.
department, I hear he's on the phone, not even sure what he's doing. He's asking the girl. Well, I understand, you're asking questions on how to run it, is that correct? How to run to be a dispatcher, get help, you're asking.
What problem we would have is, the problem we have is assistant.
Step up, please.
The problem that we have with the assistant dispatcher position is that the assistant dispatcher has done the work of the dispatcher. The desk board will probably show that the work that this person has done goes over and beyond with this assistant dispatcher position. And, as Bob had said, that it's about $30,000 more than the dispatcher position. The money in the contract far exceeds what the job title should be.
Isn't that because she takes runs? No. She takes runs.
So we requested that, for the benefit of the district, we make 2
When
dispatchers,
you say we, who do you speak to?
myself and
Who?
the people. I mean,
Who's the people?
The taxpayers.
Who did you speak to that told you this?
Taxpayer told you to make 2 dispatchers.
Who
No, I'm
told you
speaking-
this? Who are you speaking to? I'd like to know where you're getting this
All right,
information. Can I ask that question?
logically,
Where'd you get it
okay,
from?
logically, I think if you had 2 dispatchers at half the salary,
Where did you get the ego? Where did you get the information from? Where did you get the information? You
Hey.
said we.
the salary.
You said we. Who are you talking to that gave you the information? That's all I'm asking. I'm not trying to get you, I'm asking a question. You don't know the answer, that's fine.
Questioning the director? He's the
I'm
director
asking
of the
who he
department.
spoke to, he just said we. So I asked him, who, we decided. I only did was ask him.
So I want to
While
say,
you two and myself discussed salary for the position, okay, as well as Sharon Donovan. So, the 3 of us have discussed it together, that if the benefit of the district, have 2 dispatchers, and do not rehire an assistant dispatcher at higher
doesn't
salary.
civil service set the salaries?
No.
So the union contract does?
Right.
So the union contract says the dispatcher makes less than the assistant dispatcher?
Yes, it does.
The union contract says that. We don't have
There is no dispatch in the union contract.
Wait a second. Let me understand this.
You know
I'm a
what
little
the
confused
problem
now.
is? You know what the problem
Wait a
is?
second, let me ask you a question.
You will never understand how it works, because you're not in CO doing this.
I'm asking a question, so I can understand what's happening.
But you're swimming with it and making accusations.
I'm not making, I didn't make
Mr.
not one
Walsh is saying that our
accusation.
director's
What
on
he
the
said had
phone.
nothing to do with what I said.
The director,
I'm asking a question.
you said
I'm
one sentence.
asking a question about the salary. Still
One
saying,
voice
I was
said
asking a
about
question,
the
I got
director.
interrupted.
You know what, I'm
No, I was
gonna,
asking him a question.
I'm gonna ask for a
about the
5
salary.
recess if it doesn't, please.
Yes, Sharon.
Sharon, continue.
Again, how come I can't ask a question?
But Sharon,
No, I was asking a question, Mylene.
Sharon was speaking, you cut her off, please
No, I
allow
didn't cut her
her
off,
to
she cut
finish.
me off. I was asking him a question.
It's becoming confusing because you don't have the expertise that Mr. Anucci has. You don't have the expertise that our provisional supervisor has. You're swimming amidst accusations. Mr. Warshore, you said our director is on the phone and he doesn't know what he's doing.
I
You just said that-
I said I heard. You better listen, Sharon. I
Mr.
heard.
Warshaw,
I
you
heard.
heard, you said that you heard that That doesn't change what
He's
you
not sure
said.
about why, it's my district.
It doesn't change that you're slandering.
I'm not, I
You
actually,
did.
I did not put it
You
down.
said that you heard he doesn't know what he's doing. I work with.
Somebody can call me
Mr.
out and say I don't know what I'm doing, I'm not gonna get offended.
But you're wrong. I work with Mr. Bartlett
You're making
throughout
this
the
a big
week.
deal, you're making this into something that it's not. I asked you a question.
I'm trying to protect his reputation.
Okay.
You're damaging it.
I'm not doing anything, I asked you.
You said that you heard that he doesn't know what he's doing. I'm telling you that I supervise him, so does Mr. Anucci. We work with him several times a week. He most certainly knows what he's doing. How many years have you worked in this department?
23.
He most certainly knows what he's
As a
doing.
dispatcher? Oh, how many years?
I started as a bush boy.
How many years have you been a dispatcher?
About 12.
12 years you've been a dispatcher?
So now,
Can I finish my question, Ellie? So the salary for the dispatcher is set by the union and the assistant dispatcher? No. Who sets the salary that the dispatcher?
There's a salary schedule at the back of the
So our school
contract.
district does.
for this
So
We have-
so who sets the salary for the assistant dispatcher?
the union, so they want to make the dispatch, $30,000, and who like to say money.
If you did a desk order from civil service, it would say that they are doing the same job.
Assistant dispatcher, on the biggest step, $50,000? Am I right? No, that was 2014, 15, 2016, 16, 17, 17, 18, that's what we want. Assistant dispatcher. 15, I don't know, this is $53.12 an hour. I just said, I said an hour, thank you, that's what I said, $53.12 an hour. I thought I said that.
What are you saying, Neil?
So Mylan, it's all right that people yell at me.
You know we got the ground. I'm over 14.
That's not the way it starts, it's not the right way.
And we're gonna get paid. So
And
that means it's not gonna be a claim.
I don't wanna get paid. If we wanna change it next year. Why can't you change it next year? We can change it next year.
And then they have to change the title. So civil service comes in and checks to see, and then the civil service will change the title.
You just
If
have
civil
to
service
get
came, if civil service came in now,
We gotta
I'm
vote,
gonna
let's
ask
just vote on it.
I'm gonna ask you a question. If civil service came in tomorrow and did an audit on your dispatcher and your assistant dispatcher, what would they say? What do you feel they would say?
I can't say that, but they do pretty much the same work. So I'm not sure what their requirements are. I believe for the ones, but
So you just want to equal out the pay? So basically what you're telling me is you want equal pay for equal work. So I don't see why that's a problem.
Because we're going against the union contract.
And it wasn't given to the contract. Here's the contract, it's not there. It's almost like what happened a few years ago. Do you like to stick to the contract? You guys are sticklers for contracts, from what I understand. So, if it's not the
Oh,
contract,
this is different than the contract.
What's different?
Wait, but
There was a
you
baseball
want to hear
contract you
it?
guys
No.
wanted to go after?
This is an audit.
only different when you want it to
No, this is an audit from civil service. I'm sure they're gonna call civil service in.
Bob told them.
And he
Bob
said, yes,
told
you can make it a
be. But
dispatch.
it's still not in the contract. It's supposed to go to the contract and say, hey, we want to make changes. There was no, there's
I don't
no,
care if we do that.
the same thing with a coach or anything. Change the rules first.
Go to the union.
Don't change it without doing it.
Because a title exists in a contract does not affirmatively obligate you to continue with that title.
Well, let's
Civil
just vote.
service is okay with the
So
change.
when we get agreed, then
Let's
we'll
just vote. No, we're not going back to the way it was. We're gonna go back to the way it was, we're gonna vote on it.
shall include all regular, permanent, full-time, part-time employees in the following categories. And it says what the categories are, what you just said.
The highest civil service scores gets a job, that's it. We're going by what they, and that's in the 41.
Okay, so, and then let the taxpayers know that you agree.
No, we're not, we're giving it to the highest.
Oh, we're voting on the consensus, is that what?
We're not, we're giving it to, what Denise just said, Denise said that they were gonna agree, but we're not going to agree. We're going according to, we're gonna go according to the contract.
All right, let's vote, Mylan.
Let's vote, Mylan. Because you're supposed to discuss contract rules first. If it was your job, it'd be a little
But
bit.
it's not, just because there's a title in a contract does not mean you need to fill that title.
But we have it.
We have a contract, we're going by the contract.
Okay, just because I'm gonna, right, they're getting a promotion to a higher title in civil service. If civil service comes in and directs, we had approval, Mr. Anucci had approval from civil service to create that position as a dispatcher because the work is a dispatcher position.
Mylan, let's vote.
You know what?
Is it even a vote? I don't even know.
I don't know if we can table this because how's higher is this?
Picking the highest. Goes back to the way it was.
Mylan, we got 3 minutes.
My concern is that.
We don't really, we don't care.
I just have one concern. It's that here, I feel unclear what you guys are saying. How does it look that two people have the same job doing the same exact thing, but one person's making 30 more? I just want to see that
It's
even.
been like that for how many years now?
I didn't know that was like that. Why is it just
Change the
They don't have the same
contract.
They don't have the same identical job.
I want to clarify one thing, they don't have the same identical jobs. Assistant dispatcher has more because they have union responsibility within the corporation of taking trips and things of that nature that they have to plan. We cannot give it to management. So therefore, above and beyond the dispatching job, they have to take care of all the trip coordinations outside once it's given into the district. We cannot give that to administration. So that's one job that's not the same as the regular dispatcher. So they are making more money, I get that, but you have to look at what we're doing. We're doing more for the union, which keeps us, 100 and some odd people in that job, doing what you want them to do. Take care of those children outside safely, correctly, cooperatively in a unit. And as a union, we are here to do that, and you as the board, as respect to that board, I hope are respecting our position. And in sitting back there listening to you as a unit, I feel like we're being cheated out of a union because you feel money is more important than our union. And we fight strong for this place. Fight strong. The other day when we had the emergency, that the evacuation happened. How many union members and how many board members and how many non-union members went to that high school as fast as they could to get those children out of that school?
10 minutes.
I did hear
And
that.
within 10 minutes, you had at least 50 buses.
That's right.
Now, that's a union job. So I'm saying to you, and I'm pleading with you, don't make this about just money. Make it about the cooperation of the unit, make it a cooperation about the people, and forget the money. And again, I repeat, that job is not the same as the dispatcher's job. It is an assistant dispatcher's job.
It's a different job.
And it is a different job in some respect. And I'm very sad to hear that some people want to eliminate that from our union and remove it from the office. Because we do tangibly work together as a unit. And now I feel, and I can speak for most of my fellow board that's here, we're being pulling in a very big direction. And I really don't see you guys winning in this. It's not going to be a pretty battle, and I'm not trying to threaten you. But I think there's somebody in there that's really trying to stir this. And I don't know who, and I don't know why. I can just tell you, please think with your hearts and not with your heads only. This is a real important issue. That dispatching job, and again, I'm going to go back to it, it's been noted to be vacated for almost a year, and yet it only was posted in March. To me, that's a pretty substantial amount of time that you ignored that position to be filled too. So I have to say that, that's very disheartening. We kept waiting and waiting for that position to be filled, or at least somebody to come in and get trained. We're losing a vital person. You know, if you don't know Sonia, I'm telling you right now, she is a vital aspect to this company. and she's being lost, and she has nobody trained. She didn't give anybody that information.
And that's gold.
And that's a really hard thing for us all as a unit to lose. Nobody's been trained. So, and we have 1 or 2 people in the office that do know a lot of it, and they will speak later if we give them permission, that do have a lot of knowledge. And then can get us through the summer, through the next few weeks of census, that you can't just put anybody in that. I've been driving for 13 years. I don't think I could do that job as well as what some other people can. Not a new person. I can tell you that right now. So, thank you for listening.
We're gonna hire assistant super assistant. If that's what we're going back to, we have to pull from the list. You can't just.
Yes, that's what we want.
That's what we're voting on.
That's what we're voting on now. We're going back to the list.
So I don't know if I was given this information. I thought I heard that the jobs are identical, same work. Now this lady has spoken and she's saying, no, it's not identical. So.
Could we have this,
Well, the difference in the position in the assistant dispatcher is, as Linda stated, she does work with the trips, and she works with the vans, with the special ed department, and the emergency housing children, getting their transportation on a daily basis. It's something that has to be done within a short period of time. So that's where they separate the van responsibilities and the large bus responsibilities. So they're basically identical in assignment of work and routing the routes and in that respect. They're just a different aspect on a daily basis. The large buses are arranging trip transportation as well and covering the ones for the trips. On the big bus side and the van side is for mostly special ed children with emergency housing and stuff like that. So that's what kind of separates the responsibilities because, which they also are able to do each other's job, it's in which one, so one can cover the other.
So it sounds like it's similar. Well, one of them sounds like it has a little more responsibility.
Except the dispatcher comes in at 8 o'clock when everything's all over.
It has a responsibility because of the type of job.
Good point,
Whatever the reason, one of them sounds like it's slightly more responsible.
Right.
And we didn't train anybody yet?
It's the assistant.
John, is the assistant dispatch, what used to be known as the assistant dispatch, assisting the dispatcher, or are they each dispatching to a different population?
No, it's assisting the same population. So we're all working together. It's just that you need somebody to concentrate on the daily influx of covering children that comes in with special needs.
But could they both do it?
Absolutely.
So they both could divvy that up?
Yes.
The dispatcher comes in at 8 o'clock, he doesn't do anything.
Talking about job ability. The job ability.
But when he comes in at 8 o'clock, it's done.
It's already done by the spares.
That's the job ability in the position. The assistant dispatcher does the van children, and the dispatcher takes care of the big buses and stuff like that. What we're talking about in the morning is a totally different thing.
That's an
What we're
ability.
talking about is, I don't know what that has to do with it, but coming in the morning at different times has really no difference in the job responsibility. Either one can come in and do the job.
Okay, time to vote.
And I just want to ask you said you were a dispatcher for 12 years? Were you just hired? The dispatcher?
No, here, in this district.
In this district?
I was promoted.
Oh, okay, so you just started in this position here in this district?
So you are in this batch.
Well, not in this district.
In this district. We're in this district.
You were a
for
dispatcher for 12 years? But didn't you just get hired?
He's the director.
Okay, got it, thank you.
That's it, we're going by the list, let's go. Let's vote on it. Mylan, let's go. What are we waiting? great one.
So this is what I'm hearing here. But there is a list, and I think we should post the people on that list, show the position, and a good idea was brought up to save some money. We're always for saving money, so let's fill the position out of the proper group of people who are on that list for the test. And then, if we want to look at saving money, which we all do, the whole process starts all over again once we pass the budget. Let's look at maybe creating 2 equal jobs. We'll talk to the union about it, we'll make a change to the contract. That sounds like the way it's supposed to be done. So I think we can move through this. I think we should say, post to the people on the list, let's fill the position. It's time is of the essence here. All right, let's get this taken care of. Let's put it on the agenda. You guys write it down. I will be here to follow up and look at possibly splitting that position into 2 equal positions
Later, but in the meantime.
and work with the union.
Are you saying that can't be done?
And as wonderful as that solution sounds, it can't happen.
Why?
Because what happens is, you would hire an assistant dispatcher off the list. They would take that position. Then a desk audit could be done by civil service. They would come in and say, let's say they say, nope, it's an assistant dispatcher, it doesn't rise to the level of dispatcher, everything's good. If they come in and say, nope, this rises to the level of dispatcher, if that person who took that job is not on the dispatcher list, they don't have a job anymore. And that's what happens when civil service comes in and does desk audits. It has nothing to do with the district, it has to do with the work. They wouldn't know that, because if we said to someone, this is going to be temporary until you get a desk audit, no one should leave their job, because they would not be bouncing back to their other job. So if we appoint someone,
No, that's wrong.
okay,
Civil service already approved. the
civil service
dispatch.
approved the dispatch job to be both dispatch jobs. If we bounce back to an assistant dispatch job, and the district wants to move forward with saving money and see if that's a dispatch job, it would come in with civil service, they would do a desk audit, and they would look at the job. And if the job rises to the level of dispatcher, the person who is in that job can no longer be in that job if they're not on the dispatcher list high enough to reach.
Am I wrong about?
Then we gotta go back to the way it was and stick to it. That's it. Follow the contract. That's it.
It's not an issue.
Why is there 2 dispatchers?
You just got heard people that said they need the contract. Would disobey the contract when you want to disobey.
We're not disobeying the contract. Just because the contract doesn't say it doesn't
Can
mean
we
you
vote on
have to
this,
put a
please?
title in it.
Let's go. We're not, I don't want to discuss it. We're going back to the old way. Get your person off the list.
I don't have an attorney here, so.
Bob, is this a votable?
What do we need an attorney for? The board is saying, think the person's on the list. We don't need an attorney. Mylin, vote on it in public, please. We don't have to have me here
What
tonight
are
about
we
this.
voting on to do what?
We're going to take somebody from the list.
Take from the list.
We're going back to the way it
What is
was.
that? Leaving in 2 days.
She's on the list.
We're not spending the extra money. You just heard us say they do more work and they need it. And you know what? So we're done. Let's go.
Add your one thing, because this, I mean, please add your one thing.
My dispatcher right now happens to be number 1 on the assistant dispatcher list.
We can't hear you.
That's my
He's the hunter, he's gonna take that.
He doesn't have that job, he's off the list of the assistant dispatcher, he's already She's right here, she's on the list, and she's qualified.
And she's gonna be doing the job study.
Go in, Pat.
Get up.
Patty, please stand up.
I'm what's called the window person, okay? I scored a 95 on the assistant dispatcher. George scored 100, okay? The problem is, the window position has become now an assistant dispatcher. When somebody is out, I handle everything. When somebody's on lunch, I handle everything. And I feel that if I am not an assistant dispatch and something goes down, I'm working out of title. And I'm not getting, I could lose my job as far as civil service is concerned because I'm working out of title. So this is my predicament, because I love my job, I love my fellow employees, and I am not going to.
How many years of service, Patty?
I have been here 25 years, I've been a spare driver, I've worked in the office for 5 years. So and as of Friday, I will be doing it myself because George is on vacation and Sonia is leaving.
So you're doing it already?
Yeah, I am
Here's your
doing
person.
it
What are we
already.
waiting for? Should have been hired 6 months ago.
Just so I'm clear. Did you hear Mr. Garber say that the person who was the dispatcher scored 100 on the assistant dispatcher's test? What would you do if you had a chance to make $30,000 more? Thank you.
Well, 6 years in the district. She has 25 years in the district.
It's already there, what are you
He should have waited till you guys posted
Exactly.
this such a job, that's not my fault.
Exactly. He had position for that assistant dispatcher job. He chose not to take it.
He chose not
Why
to.
is it our fault
Violet,
when he
let's
chose
vote
to
on
go
this.
lower?
Let's go.
We don't need an attorney, let's go, do the right
Let's go.
thing.
You got everybody here from Boston telling you what's going on.
It's a cahoots and it's not fair.
Know what's going on
Let's
there?
go.
Patty Bond, that's who we
We're
want.
voting on it today, unless there's some kind of reason why we're not.
You're voting to go off the list.
Yes. He's not here
He's
anymore.
doing a good job, he's off the list now.
He's off the list.
He's not off the list because the title that he has is not an open competitive position.
Okay, but don't you
And
interview,
give him the job.
don't you
Yeah, okay,
interview
it's gotta
the
go
top
off the list.
3 people and you pick one out of the top 3?
I don't, transportation does.
Okay, so interview the top 3, see if he wants to interview for it.
There you go.
So be an interview, so there's
Just go by the list.
this guy, and there's Patty, and there's whoever else.
I don't know who.
Interview the top 3, I want. I just don't think
Because you're second.
so just go off the list.
Go off the list, that's the vote.
That's the vote. Let's vote, make it real.
Make it official.
So I don't want to hear was it done officially, we gotta redo whatever the board member.
That's right.
He's management. He's not the one on that list. He could apply for it.
Right now, it was posted as dispatcher.
Yeah.
And now it's going to be posted as.
Not gonna be posted.
It's gonna be the same position as assistant dispatcher,
How does that work?
it's going off the list.
We have to request the list from civil service, we'll post it, we'll canvass the list, and as you said, we'll hire the
Hire from the list.
fire committees.
I'm okay with
It's not
it.
something.
Hire from the list.
Hire from the list.
Okay.
Okay, may I have a motion to?
Can I just ask one quick question?
You can't right now, I'm sorry.
Why not? Everybody else did. I knew you got to vote, but my question is, first of all, wow, what a nightmare, okay? As somebody that lives in this district, it is horrifying to watch. There is so much personal agenda going on. If there was a posting and there was a deadline and someone didn't do it, why is this even an issue? I'm just saying, I am from your community. Why is it not, there is a deadline for a reason, whether you were in Zimbabwe.
It should have been
There's
6
still a
months ago.
deadline.
You're
It's-
100% right.
And if it was 2 weeks ago, it was still 2 weeks ago. And if
There's
somebody
some
here
fishy-
wants the job,
Smell it?
did they go for it? Did they get an interview? Did they get the job? If they didn't, this is a personal thing, and this is horrifying for me to sit back. No, I'm not with you. I'm actually against you. Okay, I'm against you. I ain't with you. Because whoever you're against, I have no clue.
We're not
This is
against it.
personal.
We're not against
You
anyone.
just had somebody 6 years, with 6 years on the job, that is personal.
That was the guy that's in there.
He's in there already. There is a deadline. You can go back to what you're saying, but I am just really,
Doesn't matter about seniority. Civil
it doesn't.
No, but I'm just saying, so you know.
But I'm just saying,
Civil
when there is a
Thank
deadline,
you, thank you, thank you, thank you, please, thank you.
No, but just so you know, I'm just saying this
Holy
doesn't matter.
cow,
They
I'm
can- You
shaking.
can yell out, I've been in civil service for 19 years. It's
go for the
top
job.
3, 1 out of 3. That's it. There's no, it doesn't matter if I have
Posting
20 years
deadline.
on or 5. You gotta,
That's it.
it goes by whoever scores higher. My
Thank you.
sergeant has less
Posting
time than I
deadline.
have.
Thank you.
That's about it.
Thank you, Jack.
Right.
All right, so then the other guy can apply for it, get the certificate.
But it is hard. I'm gonna, I'm just saying, no, I'm the person running for the board.
I was just gonna ask you.
And I'm the most embarrassed from the board to discuss it. Wait till I get up and talk.
I don't care either.
That is, but you should have applied. Oh, yeah.
Okay, so then we're taking a motion to take off the list.
Motion.
I made a motion to
To hire from the list.
Downgrade the title.
Marlene made a motion to hire from the list. I motioned, Ray second.
All in favor?
Aye. Is it just 3 or is it 3?
I said yes.
What?
So four. I don't know what the reason.
Move on to the next topic.
Next.
You're hiring from the.
From the list.
Hiring from the list.
Only need 4.
Whose is this?
They only need 3.
I need a motion and a second for resignations, termination. Oh, I do all this? Oh, okay, yes,
You had to be here 40 years ago when the other board was there. You used to love to come here because they were all organized.
In the New York State budget, the legislators allowed school districts to have a designated reserve for savings for TRS retirement, which has already previously, for many years, been permitted for ERS retirement. Now, school districts, since their lobbying effort for years has come to fruition, the legislator has allowed for us to establish a TRS reserve and to fund it, and that can carry you over from years when the TRS contribution rate for the district may be enjoying lower rates because of the economy and returns. And at those times, if you have available funds, you can put them into a reserve if you establish one. And then in years when the rates climb much higher, there's a reserve to go against so that you don't have to pull money out of programs and services to cover the obligation that the district legally has.
Is that on the consent agenda on the number 17, Sarah?
No. This is the discussion item.
New reserve, first time we're allowed to do it, as a school district.
Do we even have money over the 4% left to fund another reserve?
At the end of the year, when there is surplus funds available in any given year, we can choose to fund reserves.
Right.
And that brings us down to 4%. I'm sorry?
Will we have that this year?
We should plan to allow for contributing. I'm recommending that we establish a PRS reserve. We can put that on the June 11th agenda, a resolution for that. And after we have our audit and we see our final numbers, we can ask the board to recommend.
Why do we raise our actually what? We find that.
Well,
Like that.
already on tonight's agenda, I have a recommendation to fund the existing reserves in up to amounts, because we don't have final numbers yet. The year isn't even over yet.
Right, that's why I'm asking,
So-
why do we do that now?
We have to do that now. It's a requirement, otherwise we will not be permitted to fund You have to do it before June 30th. It's a requirement, the ordinance will allow.
Because
it.
it's the year ends, is that the reason?
Correct.
Okay, that's what I want to know. Thank you.
So this one, although it's not on there to be funded, it's not even on there to be established, it's just a discussion item for tonight.
So we can establish it without funding though?
We
If we don't
can,
have money at the end, we have to do it?
yes, just as with the other reserves, where it's an up to amount, so it could be zero,
That
up
was
to
my
the
question on those two, like, do we have to fund, where is that money coming from?
It would be coming from any available
If we have them.
funds, if we have them.
Right.
That's why
We
it's
don't have to do those amounts that you wrote. We can
It,
go up to
no,
those
that's just up to, but I think it could be a maximum.
Okay, all right.
So the TRS one again is not established yet. I'm just talking about it and exposing you to it. But at the June 11th meeting, I would like to have a resolution on to establish it and to fund it in an up to amount.
Up to amount.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions regarding this? All right, let's move on to resignations, terminations, leaves of absence. I would like to pull item 3B, and I'd like to recuse myself from that vote.
Okay.
So we have to vote on all the remaining items unless there's another table. Actually removed for another vote.
Yeah, we can remove it.
Is there anything else? Okay, so I need a motion and second for all remaining resignations, terminations, and leaves of absence. So I have a motion on the table. Do I have a second?
I just have a question on the resignations before we vote.
On the remaining items.
On all of them. Just a general question on the resignations. Recently, we found out that there's sometimes the resignations that are put in as a resignation for like personal are not entirely personal. Sometimes there's a reason that they have to resign, whether it be internal reason or their own reason. So I wanted to know, and, you know, it's not always the employee's idea, so I want to know, were there any, on these retirements now that are on this list that we're voting on tonight, was anyone made to do an early retirement to avoid disciplinary action or any other reason?
I wouldn't use the word may. I would substitute the word,
Yes.
that they were given an option of that or being terminated.
Good word, sorry.
The answer is yes.
So can you tell me which letters?
We can in exact,
Nobody has this list.
Discussion of personnel issues, it should be done in
Well, then I want-
executive session.
Are you referring to 1B?
Well, that was one, I get to know 1A was one. Oh,
Wait,
One
wait,
A.
wait. Who are you referring to, 1A, 1B?
I just asked a general question, I wasn't referring to anyone.
Oh, because it made it sound like you actually know something.
Oh, no, I wasn't referring, I asked a general question. So I wanted to know if that's done on this list.
and
There's
the
a lot.
answer is yes.
There's several of them that were offered the option, what's the word you used?
They were given the option
Right,
of
the option.
resigning as an alternative to discharge. There were not several. There were two that I can see immediately. Just so you know, in general, Eileen, that's done to offer people an opportunity so that they don't get burnt further down the road. So that when they're applying for a job, if there's an inquiry as to why they left, all that's in the file is they resigned for personal reasons, rather than we recommend their termination. Save career, basically.
Okay, so I have a motion, do I have a second? All in favor?
This is all the.
All the one, I'm pulling. Okay, for item number 3B, I'm going to.
Wait,
We didn't vote, only one person said aye, so only one person.
Aye.
Abstain.
You're abstaining from the initial list.
Yeah.
We have four.
Four.
Okay, so 3B, I'm going to recuse myself.
So you're abstaining?
I'm recusing myself.
That's abstaining.
Yes.
That's abstaining, yes.
Yes.
So I vote no on 3B.
I
Motion.
need a motion and a second.
Motion.
Second.
No.
No.
What you said no?
One yes and one abstention.
Please? Oh, so one yes. Okay, one yes is on the table. All right, let's move on to appointments, tenure, salary changes. I need a motion and a second. Second?
Was that second?
Tenure's next meeting.
Next meeting, right? It went
Yes.
on this one, okay.
So there's a motion on the table. Is there a second?
Second.
All in favor? Okay, we're moving on to recommended action, financial matters. We have items 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. We have the revenue status report for July 1st, 2018 through March 31st, 2019. Appropriation status, July 1st, 2018 through March 31st, 2019. Budget transfers. Treasurer's report, March 2019. Overtime reports, July 1st, 2018, March 31st, 2019. School lunch reports, July 1st, 2018 through March 31st, 2019. Yes.
Karen, on the appropriations, what you bought in the end for the buses? I thought every year we were replacing the bus. 2, 3, or 4. Should we do that this year at all? Any buses or vans or
That's what I thought. Oh, you got all those.
I believe we did.
We did? Do you know how many we bought? Was it buses or vans?
I think it was 3, but let me get back to you for
All
sure.
right, that's fine, thank you.
So Sharon, would you like to share the question I had earlier with the public, so we're being transparent? I'm sorry, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Oh, I'm not on the spot. And you were actually asking for that. President of the board asked about the revenues and expenditures for the lunch program that she had reviewed. And she noticed that there was also a budget transfer on the agenda for $250,000 from the general fund to the school lunch fund. Mrs. Oculus is assuming that there is a projected loss for the lunch program for the current fiscal cycle, and that is correct. There is a projected loss in the amount of $282,000. And then further, Mrs. Oculus asked about the status of the consultant. The consultant has been touring the kitchens this month, accompanied by our food service director. She was scheduled to present on June 11th, but due to the lengthy content expected for June 11th with tenders and birds and everything, we're going to ask if we could postpone that to the judge.
Okay, so it's possible we can exceed the 250. Okay, we probably could look at the same bracket of 280 like last year.
Yes.
So sustaining the same amount of loss. So with the consultant, would she be able to sort of dissect where we can be a little bit more cost effective?
That's our goal.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any other questions? Any other questions, Mark? Right? So I need a motion and a second for each. Okay. No.
I've broken down.
No, we're just, questions. Okay, I need a motion and a second for items 2 through 20 on the consent agenda. Motion, and then we can have time for discussion on the items. I have a motion on the table. Second? All right, Mark's a second. I just wanted to talk about item number 1. I'm sorry, item number 2, the Catherine August Scholarship. I wanted to thank Lee and those that contributed to this scholarship. And if I'm allowed to, if I'm allowed to make one provision on this one, obviously I will double this. I'll add on another 100. And this can go to an E&L student. My mother-in-law was Italian. She did not speak English. So when she came into the public school system, she, had a hard time to adjust, so she had left out a few grades. But she did in the end receive her high school diploma, which she was very proud of. And that's a very big deal for a family, you know, going back so many years. So I'd like that to be part of the criteria, any NL student to receive this scholarship. Thank you.
Did we vote on the financial matters?
Yes.
We did. We had a motion in a second, then we discussed, but I don't think we ever voted.
Oh, we did all in favor for financial.
Oh, aye, yeah.
Aye.
I got that
Motion
one
is sent
question.
on
Sorry.
consent agendas, so
Yes.
I have a lot of questions. Sorry.
We don't
What you
have
just said?
Yes.
Are you ready for this? Or does somebody else want to go first?
I just wanted to, I did my thing.
Oh, okay. Number 3. Hold on, I'm on my list here. Number 3 on the consent agenda. Is there a cost to this?
yeah, that's a Schedule C. The company that's at the choir is absolutely, there's a fee
The
for
person
that.
that we're hiring, is that guy who works here? Because I checked. When I heard he's not an employee.
That could be.
So,
You can't get an employee, they'll go on.
right, nobody wants it, it's not a problem, I just want to know how much does it get me? That's what I want to
Just change to, I'll check for you. For tomorrow, but I think it's about $170.
for an hour or for the day, for what?
No, it's per session.
Oh, okay.
How long?
Yeah, I don't know what she's doing. What is he doing? Like, going to concerts, like, how many concerts?
The June 8th concert.
The June 8th, that's it? Number 7, which is, facilities use, the Booster Club. Is this a one-time event? If not, they have to apply for the 501c3 status. Also, I'm assuming that they don't have insurance. I like the concept, I love what they're doing, but it's gonna follow the rules. They wanna use this as a one-time thing for the raising money for this one kid, I think it's great, but if they're gonna do it all the time, they mentioned something in the letter about in the future, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah, I'm looking at the letter. I don't.
Right, you said something about the future, this is their first year doing this,
Okay.
you know, if they wanna do it in the future.
I don't have information that says that they are applying to be a 501c3.
No, I know that, that's what I'm saying, but if they're gonna do this again, then we probably need to make them follow the rules.
Correct.
Right. If they're doing it just the one time, I guess we could make a waiver if we wanted to, but if they're doing it again next year and the year after, they gotta have insurance, they gotta follow the rules like everybody else. They're doing it only one time?
We can vote on it
As
for one time.
yeah, I have no problem with the one time. But if they try to do it again next year, we gotta follow the rules.
Yeah, the problem is when they ask for waiver.
And you, right, and you saw the way they wrote the letter, it just seems like they're going to do it again.
There's gonna be other people.
That's not fair.
You know, so I don't know how you want to just vote on it for this one time? Amend the thing to make it this one time, Mylene?
Can I speak about it?
Yeah.
Thanks. My name is Diana Mealy. I wrote that letter. We don't plan on doing it again. We don't really have any type of plan because we're not sure how this is going to work out. I have no problems. I already have a 501c and I can do all those things, so I have no problem following the rules. This is really something that's coming to you from the students and your athletes. This poor boy passed away in February. He was a member of our soccer club. He was a member of your wrestling club. He was a scholar athlete. He was an incredible student. So the kids came to me and they asked me, can you please do some type of tournament where we can all get together and celebrate Ronnie? So that was all that we're doing. All of the money that's being contributed is going to the Concussion Legacy Foundation because they believe that Ryan had 6 concussions in a couple of years, and they feel like that is what altered his decision to end his life.
Do we have a date on that? I'd like to attend.
It's on June 8th.
And Diana, that's just the one.
It's just the one time.
And I have no problem voting on it.
Okay, so it's June 8th, is it at the high school?
Yes, it's at the high school, and I already applied for the building use permit, so they're good with all of that.
And what time is that? You know what, can you actually send the board an invite? And I'd like to support everybody.
Right, and we
Is it
also
at night?
want, nope, it's during the day, it's in soccer tournaments, it's from ninth grade to adult alumni soccer kids who have played here. We put it out to a couple of other schools, you know, just other teams that we play with all the time. And we wanted to take the other half of the money and put it in a one-time Brian Mansell Kemp scholarship for his graduating class of 2020.
Okay, this is a salary, I'm assuming, right?
Yes.
Okay, perfect. Are you going to put this like on social media?
I would like to, but I needed your board approval first.
Okay. Is there something that maybe Linda you could do to maybe just put this on the back of parents?
That would be fabulous.
Diane, will you be providing insurance to cover the district?
I do have insurance, absolutely.
Okay, so if you don't mind calling Dr. Adams, she'll help you, you know, sort of expand.
Okay,
How do I know that? All right, we'll reach out to Linda, and this way we can get such.
great, I would really appreciate it. Ronnie's parents are really suffer.
Yeah, of course, absolutely. Yeah.
So to make something for the kids and the parents. I'm so sorry.
Thank you, we appreciate that. Thank you very much. It was very sweet, thank you.
Number 8. Is this our own busing?
No, this is Suffolk Transportation.
Okay, what's the cost?
What's the
There's
cost?
Yeah, it's right on there, Mike.
I didn't see it.
Oh, very tiny.
I thought we were getting extra, like 3 bids. I thought we were not extending contracts, we were gonna get 3 bids for these things.
This is an extension of an existing RFP which included the bid process.
Right, so we're just extending it, we're not going out to rebid?
Right, because it's a very extensive process to do, and it's customary for school districts to have bid extensions, which is right on the contract from SED for several years out.
Okay, thank you. Number 10, I have the same question. It only has 2 bids instead of 3. That's not a,
Yeah, so we only received 2 in order to close the loop if the board doesn't want to accept that. We have to reject it if that's the actual process. We can't just ignore it and just reject it through the full process. I can say that Century Plumbing has been in the district for many years. He has a very, very extensive understanding of the system and all the nuances to it. Many of the contractors we've talked to do not pay prevailing wage, and therefore we don't want to bid on it. Most of the irrigation companies and everything of that nature. So that's partially, I'm sure that's a big piece of the one we're looking to respond. But if the board does not want to go forward with it, you have to reject it.
we just pulled that for a separate vote, we'll see.
Which item was that?
That was number 10.
Why are we pulling that one?
Just to see if the board wants to go through with it, only 2 bids. We said 3. There's another one, there's a couple more of those.
Yeah, always get 3.
Leave it.
You doing that?
I would leave it.
All right, I'll leave that one. Number 11. The last meeting, there's no worry, no details will be given. A particular student was going to a particular school that cost, what was that number again, Monica? How much did it cost? There's a student that's going to a school that's not BOCES. There was a cost attached to that? Yes, there was.
What was the cost?
What was that cost?
Yeah.
I don't
It was
know.
less than what
It was less than BOCES.
It was like, I think it was like 80,000.
So, looking at the BOCES attachment, and I remember you saying something about 140,000 for BOCES?
Depending on the related services, and if the student requires additional supports.
Okay.
So there's
So I
there's
saw on
one
this one
number,
that said 70,000, so I got a little,
there's one number, so that would be the base, but then everything that goes in addition to that is an add-on.
okay, thank you, that's what I needed clarification on, thank you. Number 12. There were definitely more than 3 bids, but do we have a dollar amount of what the other ones came in at? I'm just curious on that.
Mary Jane, can you scroll down so I can see which one, which number
It's the masonry and chimney
Yeah,
repairs.
I don't have all this broken down.
Can you just send that to me? I'm just curious.
Sure.
Okay. So I will send, number 13, there's no bids? You got no
Number
bids?
13 was for professional services, so that's done through an RFP. And there were 2 respondents.
Oh, I didn't see that. What were the dollar amounts? Who were the respondents? You want that one? What was the
Yeah,
lowest
that's the
amount?
one for sale.
It's engineering services.
I didn't see it. Can't see it.
Engineering fees.
It's good. I mean, it is a technology related, so it's related to our phone system. This is what it's the new phone system.
What's that?
Our purchasing director told me that it was awarded through an RFP process, as I said, for professional services. And it's awarded based on a matrix with a very stringent specification based on the complexity of our particular phone system.
Okay. I just want to know the dollar amount.
It's an hourly rate. So the technical services, it's $150 an hour. Overtime and weekend holiday rate is $200 an hour. And the daily rate, which is based on an 8-hour workday, Monday through Friday, is $1,200.
Do we have a projected cost, like, can we cap them at something? That's a lot of money.
Can't figure it out.
That's your thing. They are? I think you didn't want it, right? All right, number 14, tan. Karen, I guess this is for you, this is my last question, I think?
That's to cover our cash.
Yeah, no, I know what that's for.
Okay.
I just want to know what the interest rate is,
We'll go out to bid for that, and banks. Okay.
and what, do we know the dollar amount of interest? When you do that, can you get me this information? I don't need it tonight. So I want to know the interest rate that we get, and the dollar amount and interest rate for last year, and if we use the same company. You know, last year to this year.
It'll be probably different banks who bid,
Yeah.
who are awarded, and that'll happen
Yeah, I just want the.
like in August or September.
I know it wasn't right now, so I knew you could.
Yeah,
give me
that's
the
not a
answer tonight.
problem.
Okay, thank you.
You bet.
And then, final, 15, excess workers' comp. How much is this, and why do we need an excess policy?
To cover over and above our regular workers' comp policy.
I'm still confused, why do we need one to cover?
Because there's a
over-
certain threshold for a workers' comp policy, and for those cases where the award is even higher than that, this gives the.
So it's like an umbrella?
Yes,
That's what you're saying?
exactly.
Thank you.
Perfect.
And that's it, I think, right? There are no more. Oh, no, this is great. Hold on, where's my other page? Sorry, I have no page. 16. Property and casualty insurance, there's no dollar amount on there?
This is for a lot of the districts' insurance. It's through an insurance reciprocal that most school districts use, at least many, if not most.
Oh, it's a reciprocal.
It's reciprocal, so very
So my questions
beneficial.
are moved, don't worry about them. Okay. Number 19, I think is awesome that we have an author, but what school is that for?
It was for our literacy celebration.
Oh, what?
It was for our district literacy celebration.
So it was already done? District literacy? So what schools did that go to?
All.
All of them, good. So all the kids got,
It was a night event at the high school, and all children in the district were
okay.
invited.
Was that the first time having that here?
No, we've had that for
5 or 6 years.
20 years,
Awesome.
20 plus
Okay.
years.
All right. Number 20. What does he do, that literacy guy? What exactly did he do? I'm gonna go back to the.
He did, a portion of his presentation was, it was all interactive. So a portion was on illustration. And so he did a lot on illustration, that's all of his main.
All right, that's what I thought. Number 20. Number 20, facilities use. The futsal league, they're paying us $18,500 to use our property.
Yes,
They have insurance too.
yes.
They are not a 501c3.
I believe they are a 501c3. They don't have the residency requirement. That's the
Oh,
problem.
that's what they're missing? Missing residency? Mark wants to know how many times they use our fields.
I don't, it's an indoor sport. I don't have the number of times. Do you know roughly?
I believe it's 6. They use 2 of our buildings, they use the high school, that would be best, and they use the main building.
6 times.
In each of those buildings, and they're doing it on a Sunday, which is why there's this one.
Yeah, with that rate, the district would not have any financial impact to staffing their events.
Indoor soccer.
There's a small party wall, it works on footstool.
Mylan, is there time for the board to ask another question after the consent agenda? Because I have one more question I want to bring up. But it's not on the consent?
It's not on the agenda at all, or is it?
No, it's not on the agenda at all. It was in emails that I wanted to. Well, have time for that?
Yes. Okay, so, okay, so I need,
Who's not proud of me tonight then?
is there an all in favor on these items?
Aye.
Okay, thank you. Okay, before we move on to public comment, let me just remind everybody, Beachville Liam, because I could do it. We have Beachville Liam, OBMS, between 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. Please bring your child, student age. I know on the flyer it says teenager. I did ask the people who are coordinating the event. They said they would love to have all student age children come to attend. I've actually got some hype on stable moms. They'll have some stable moms coming down and taking advantage of this. Yes, school age. Yes, K to 12. Please go down. I think it's very important to have your child screened. I screened my children years ago. My daughter has a little something, nothing big, but something to keep an eye on. And you just never know. So be proactive, do the screening, it's free. My daughter did it again last year just to show support for the women. These women have lost their children to this unfortunate cardiac disease. So yes, if the readings are done, the EKG is read by the cardiologist. So please take advantage of this opportunity. I can't stress it enough. And now we're moving on to.
Wait, can I just
sorry, yes,
quickly
you did.
So we had a lot of emails, and some were from unions for no response. I get a lot of parents calling me saying that they send letters and they get no response. When we get from the union, we usually get a grievance because there's no response. Each grievance costs upwards of $20,000. I'm not telling you guys anything that we don't know already. Some of them, they just want a simple apology letter. As taxpayers, this is something that we shouldn't have to pay all the time. It's getting out of control, the legal fees for these grievances. I'd like to know if we can get these things addressed in a timely manner so that we don't get grieved. If they just get communication in a more timely fashion, maybe we can work with compromises and work with the unions so that we don't get grieved. There's some other things, there were some other letters, but in the end, no one wins if we get grieved. And there are some other letters we received, and I do have a question on one of them. I found out that our foreign language director does not speak a foreign language. Is that true?
Isn't she translating?
She translated.
Yes, she translated all our brochures into the Spanish brochures.
She was a, she was
This
an,
person loses
The
personnel.
foreign language director does not know how to speak foreign language.
she's not just the foreign language director, she's director of world languages at Kia.
And, you know,
Okay, but does she speak foreign language?
I don't know, but honestly, that's not a person that should be brought up in public, because that's a personnel issue when you're talking about a person.
Oh, a person, okay.
Yeah.
But shouldn't that position, okay, so for that position, you should be able to speak foreign language?
I'm not gonna say should, because E&L is a big part of that as well, so I don't know what that answer might be.
What is that job description for the foreign language director?
We'll get to
I don't want to know about she, I want to know about the actual position.
forward to you.
Okay, will you forward me the description for that, please? Thank you. That's it.
Okay, so now we're moving on to public portion. Okay, step up to the podium. You have to address the president only. You have 3 minutes to speak. Mary Jane will just sound off a light bell at the 2:30 mark, just to have you finish up the comment of concern.
Okay, so I'm going to speak to the argument that went on before, and I know for the last several months I've heard there are new members, and that, we're learning and it's a process. And I know there was a lot of passion. I know in my own opinion, some of it may have been, personal or not. There was obviously some stuff thrown around that was personal in nature, and I think it would have been better if the homework had been done completely. There are many people here, not just one department, but many departments that could have participated and with information. So, those 2 seats that are in question were originally a head bus driver and an assistant dispatcher. Those were the seats. Those salaries were created all the way back to Larry's day. And they were tremendous and huge. Whether that was done arbitrarily for favor, I couldn't say. But I will tell you that those seats made more than the district treasurer. That the seat that was discussed tonight isn't just the 50 odd, yes I did hear you salary per hour, but also accumulates overtime at a guarantee of 8. Whether they work 3 or 4, 5 hours, they get paid 8. That's over $80 an hour. It's more than the instruction that your instructional staff make. So I had to hear about non-instructional, let's cut 10%, but no one's looking at that. Clearly, this contract's being negotiated. So it's expired. It's on the website, public information. If the district wanted to downsize the seat, which they did before, with John's seat, that was filled by the assistant dispatcher originally. It was made into a non-union management seat. And then the head bus driver was left open. That's the one that's being vacated. The reason it's only being vacated now is because the training is only 2 weeks. We are budgeted for 1 person in the salary, not 2. Every position, instructional, non-instructional, have no more than 2 weeks overlap, if you get that. Because we fought for it in our contract, pay us out our sick time. No, we don't care if they use their sick time and there's no training. I'm sure you'll recall that. Now you know why. Now you know why you have someone leaving a seat that is imperative, like we've had in payroll, in curriculum, in special services, in special ed. Because this is how you chose to operate. This is not a critique, it is just the way it is. This is why you have the situation in transportation, because it happens district-wide. So there should have been, I'm not saying the outcome would have been different, but you should have found out more. You should have known the history before you had a public display that is just unacceptable. The passive, the aggressive, the whole thing is, it's disheartening. Disheartening that the board questions the administration. You have the authority over your administration, but it shouldn't be done in a public forum like this. It gives us a vote of no confidence if the board can treat their own people this way. It's just frustrating. And that's the story of transportation.
Anybody else?
Yes, my name is Ray Cronenberg, and I've been in the district for about 13 years. I'm a bus driver for the last 2. Started off as a substitute teacher, moved on to the district, and came back as a bus driver. And the position that everybody has been talking about was, posted as a bus driver coordinator. That's what I put in for. That's what a handful of us put in for. The test is slotted June 1st. The civil service test is June 1st, and we're all, I'm on the list to take it. So, this is all I know. And nobody disseminated any information coming down saying that anything's changed. I hear a lot of rumors they're going to repost it. Now I hear that, as of tonight, they're going to make 2 dispatches, so please, you can inform me, is this list that's going to be generated from June 1st test? There's a coordinator position? Is it going to replace the dispatches test list? It will.
Not from June, let's go to the list that's already there.
From the list that's there.
So civil service changed the name of the title. So the dispatcher title is now bus coordinator. He's asking a different question, Mr. Marshall. The question is, the list that the test that he is slated to take replaces the dispatcher test. It's now been retitled in civil service. That's different than what happened tonight. What happened tonight is the board voted to downgrade the posting from bus coordinator to bus coordinator assistant, which is dispatcher assistant. So civil service has changed the name of that title as well. There's currently still a list that is viable for that title, but the board voted to downgrade the posting from dispatcher / bus coordinator to dispatcher assistant / bus coordinator assistant. That's what happened tonight. So the test that you're slated to take replaces dispatcher.
Thank you.
Any further questions?
Hello. Yeah, I was looking over the budget, and I just had a couple of questions. I saw that you're looking to add some AP classes, and being the parent of a person who graduated, my question is, first of all, are these AP classes going to be free to all students, rather than whatever $195 fee? And the other question is, has any research been done as to the advantage of offering the college classes versus the AP, as to what our kids, when they go out to college, what do they get the most benefit and credit from in the end towards their college? Have we done any research to that extent to see what is the most beneficial when we're adding programs like this?
So the AP capstone program is the one that we're adding. So we had started it last year, so it's the second part of it. So that is the only AP course that we're adding this year. That will have an impact. The fees are still the burden of the family and the child, and that's something the board has discussed at times. As far as the benefit outweighing, depending on whether it's a college course, we're very fortunate in Connecticut where we offer an equal number of college courses versus AP courses, so our students have an opportunity to select one or the other depending on what their career plans are and college plans are. I will speak to the Director of Guidance to see if there's some way that we can do some research to see post-graduate benefit to it.
That's what this, I know the college classes got my daughter right out of the language, those two classes, or 2 semesters that put her ahead. I don't know to what advantage, and if parents are paying for this, as you just said, because I know I paid for an AP class last year, if parents are paying for this, I think we want to get the most bang out of our buck in terms of the program, and our kids are working really hard, and it's very intense, so if it is not going to follow them to college and cut off some credits and give them some advantage to going in to, say maybe, a semester's worth of work, whatever it may be, that's what I'm asking, and do they, do more kids, because you have to pass that test and get a certain score to get the credit. Those kinds of things I think would be very beneficial when you move forward to add programs like this, that will cost parents additional money out of pocket. So,
Thank you. Anybody else?
I have a couple of questions here. Okay, number one, we all know where I stand on cards. I would like to just let you know now how many districts on Long Island have actively done this. Massapequa does, Cold Spring Harbor does, King Park, Hopog, Mount Sinai, Mill Place, West Babylon, East Islip, and Montauk have all now voted to have on cards on their campuses. So I know, and I urge you guys, I know not everybody is for this, but this is the moving tide. I know right now there's a Senate bill on the floor that they're trying to pass that will make it pretty much the force that you guys are going to have to do this. But I just want to bring a point, and Don, this might be more towards you. Do we have a district command center for our security staff? I know we have a security office, but do they actually have a command center? Yes, good. That's good. Okay. Then my other question is, what West Babylon instilled or included in this passing was also increasing their health professionals. They also made more in their curriculum a social emotional learning atmosphere for children. So my case in point is now we have all these libraries that are being built. Are we creating spaces where children can go, like to debrief if they're stressed? Do we have safe places? Mill Place District has safe places for kids that are rooms that they can go if they're feeling stressed out. There's a counselor there that they can talk to on site. Those are my questions, is do we have that for our kids? They've also now included in K through 12, this is kindergarten through 12, they now have their health curriculum now has mental health, and it's like an entire breakdown of mental health awareness, coping mechanisms, problem solving, conflict resolution. These are things that we have to recognize as the public. We do, I know I do this with my kids, not every kid's getting that in their home. I would say 7 out of 10 kids don't. And we see that, I see that just now, here. Conflict resolution is way down. So I think that's something, even, I know you guys aren't for the armed guards, this K through 12, that in their curriculum for their mental health, that is something that I think as a district. Libraries are great, I think they're beautiful. That we should incorporate in the new space then for our kids.
We went to South Charity, what was it called?
They actually did yoga, and it was actually considered a safe room.
Yeah.
The room was done beautifully, and I think it's a pilot, and I think
Duffield has it as well.
So, okay, that's great for our younger kids.
Duffield?
No, that was at
My
Duffield
case
then.
in point, I posted something on my action page about middle school, and how middle school, for me, I was a single mom, was the hardest time keeping my son in line. You know, everybody knows me, knows I'm a helicopter parent, I'm all up in my son's stuff, okay? Those are the worst times for a kid. That's where me, like I said, I faced bullies my entire life. That was the worst point in my life, middle school. That mental health aspect is so important for kids that age. Cherokee, Duffield, great, they're young kids. We do buckets, we dip a little bucket in the happiness. Our middle school kids are suffering.
That's not what we saw, actually, what we saw at Cherokee was pretty intense.
Oh, no, I think it's great to have the elementary level. I'm not saying that at all. I think it's great. We should teach from a young age. But like, I want to see that in the middle school and the high school level.
I think the teacher at Cherokee did say they were bringing it into.
Do you have it at
They
Cherokee?
should.
Yes.
They should.
I never heard
Because
of
that's-
It's at Cherokee, it's at Duffield, it's not at Cherokee.
Duffield.
It's not at Cherokee also?
The mindfulness room.
Oh, the mindfulness room in the school get
But
it.
yes, Miss
phenomenal.
Coogan does, yes, she does it,
This could be.
Favorite person in the whole building. Awesome.
So Cherokee and Duffield have it, but none of the other elementaries and none of the middle schools or the high school.
I know it's something that Lee and I, the board was invited, Lee and I did attend, and that was the premise for this to be expanded throughout the grade,
Good.
so.
That's something
the
that,
goal.
I don't want to be biased, but that should have been looked at before pretty new libraries, in my opinion. I think the libraries are great, we're getting them, it's
We don't have
wonderful.
Mrs. Van Dien, because district-wide, we had had initiatives that have started a few years ago and are continuing. So I'm going to let Mrs. Van Dien have
Okay, good.
The mindfulness initiatives,
Yeah.
traveling, I first in the elementary school, but I think it's that they be spread evenly throughout and upward as well.
Yeah.
When you speak about middle school mental health, speaking as a former middle school psychologist,
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, also speaking as a parent.
Yeah.
On my third round of middle school, you're right, it's a very difficult time.
Yeah.
I think we've taken that very serious, and the board has been very good to mental health in middle schools. We added a YFS, I want to say 2 years ago, equalizing and creating 3 guidance counselors plus a YFS in each building. In addition to that, there's a psychologist in each building and one that's shared between both. There's definitely an emphasis on mental health in both middle schools.
Yeah.
I agree with everything you said.
My question now that you say that though, just quickly, guidance counselors, are they actually like trained in psychology? Or are they
able to
just
offer
there to
counseling.
guide with curriculum?
No, they're also able to offer counseling. They do work on credit bearing, questions and schedules, but they are also available for counseling. But then we have social workers who IPAS.
Right.
As well as school psychologists.
Okay. So just bear in mind, that's something that should be more in the current climate.
In regards to what she had said about the mental health, I was dealing with a bunch of ninth graders. This year, I have to say, it's probably been a very difficult year for them. We've had a lot of tragedy and a lot of sadness happening. I know a lot of the kids like really well, considering I have a niece in the ninth grade, and it's brutal. So I hope that they continue to do what they're doing. They're doing a great job bringing in the crisis team, I guess it is. They're doing a great job. My niece told me all about it, so I commend you guys with that. On the other end, I am scared to death after tonight to sit possibly in Ray's seat, possibly.
Sitting right there.
Yeah, well, very scared. I want to thank you for being, well, you did great tonight, honest to God, and Ray, fabulous. Not trying to throw digs at anybody, but I have to tell you guys, I'm hoping that everybody calms down a little bit. It is, from sitting out here and listening to the people behind me the entire time, it is so hard to not just be like, enough, please stop. This is what we're trying to teach our kids. We're trying to teach our kids about kindness, and it starts with us. It starts with us. That's where it starts. I was told that by a teacher on Facebook last week, and she was right. It starts with us. So either we can just agree to disagree and not throw digs at a table that you have a whole community sitting here. This room is never packed. You know why? Because people don't want to waste their night coming here to listen to people argue and be embarrassed for you to be just screaming at each other. You are all good people. There's no reason why we can't just agree to disagree in public. In public session, it should never look like that. It shouldn't. It shouldn't, regardless how you feel. And Dr. Adams, I give you credit because I love everybody here, but at the same time, you go to college, you work your butt off, you have every right to be called Dr. Adams. I don't have a doctor, but if I did, I'd want to be known, I'd want to be spoken to like that. No reason to get to this. I'm praying, seriously, that in a couple of weeks, things cool out and people start to see. If not, use self-reflection and watch the video. Tonight was horrible for everybody to witness. It's not how it should go down. And I'm hoping in the future it doesn't go down like this. No reason. There's no reason. There's no reason for this. You're a good person. There's no reason for this. None. But you know what it does? It makes you look bad. It doesn't make them look bad. Just let me know. It does. Watch the video. Watch the video. I have a father who doesn't want to come here because of watching the video. No, I'm just saying. Moss, I'm saying you can't say that you guys are all calming it for the kids. Then be for the kids. Really be for the kids. You're for the kids? Really be for the kids. Never ever act the way you don't want your children to act. I want my children to act better. I want my kids to fight back, but I also want them to understand, to toe the line and know when it's not worth it. When it's not worth it. Especially in the public eye, though we vote to put you guys in office, we certainly should have representatives that we're proud of. Not that we want to put our heads in our lap because we're mortified. Let's be clear.
Thank you.
I want to let you guys know on this board and all of this that I will tell every single parent, every single student, and every single mother that I know that this board is for the kids and that they approved this Ryan Camp tournament because they are for the kids and they want to do good things for the kids. So thank you very much.
Thank you. Thank you. So, I just wanted, we had obviously 2 incidences at the school, and one thing that really sounded loud and clear to me is that our children are amazing. We had children that came forward, they brought it to the attention of administration that they saw something, they said something. I'm really proud for that. I want to encourage parents to also be your children's leader and see something, say something. Get involved with what's going on, because I tell you, I'm learning, and for the last couple of years learning. My oldest son is 33, we didn't have this. This was, hey, Mylan, you know what John is doing down the block? You know, this was before cell phones. We all stood as a community, and we said, hey, call that, hey Mylan, you better watch, John's on the corner, or hey Mary, whatever it is. You guys, it's more difficult to be a parent now, because your children are more visible back years ago, not so much anymore. Life goes on behind the closed doors. It's happening on here. I just want to bring attention to something that I read on Facebook. It was actually posted in Sable's mom page. And it was actually very heartbreaking to me because this one mother who doesn't believe in social media, for a middle school child, she said, no social media for you. The child's being bullied on social media, but doesn't have a social media account. Her friends brought it to her attention, and you're being bullied. Please, 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 watch what your children are doing. I may say to you, hey Linda, I don't like your hair today. I'll walk away. She may go home later on and say, gee, why did Mylan say my hair doesn't look nice? Is there something, it sticks. Please, if you have nothing kind to say, don't say it at all. That's what I try to tell my kids at home. If you have nothing kind to say, please don't say anything at all. These kids take it home, they absorb it, they obsess over it, and it's heartbreaking. And I'm seeing too many things in this district that, very heartbreaking for our children. It's very difficult to be a teenager today. I think that my son John's time was a little easier, actually a lot easier. These kids today are facing so many things that I can't even imagine. So please be kind to your children. Please watch what they're doing. Please check your book bags. And please encourage to see something, say something. I know in Brooklyn years ago they call you, you're a rat. You're not a rat. You're protecting your community. You're being part of the community.
Can I piggyback on
Sure.
what you just said? In addition, some of the things I heard, when you as parents hear something for your kids, I know this group.
Well, forget that group.
If your child goes home and says, hey mom or dad, blah, blah, blah happened, don't take it lightly. Take it seriously and report it. Child comes home and says something to you, you should, and you as an adult should report it. Even though, you might think, well, no big deal. So take it as a big deal in today's day and age and do something immediately. So that would be my message that I would like everyone to pass on, because a disaster can happen when parents say something like when a child is concerned.
I'd rather be wrong than right. I'd rather be wrong than right. Linda, did you have something to say? Okay. Can you give us my second budget? All right. Yes.
Motions.
Second, all in favor, just give 5-minute recess and we'll walk into exec.